Recording is at 01. Okay?
Okay. So now we're recording?
Yes, we are recording right now.
Okay.
Sorry for being a little bit late.
Yeah, we were just talking about what kind of showers we like to take.
Oh, so
yeah. Yeah.
How was that?
We both like taking warm showers.
Yeah. Did you take one? Oh, sorry, we're not supposed to use.
Golden.
Sorry, Shiro. Did you like taking warm showers?
I take scalding showers where my skin turns red and my bath basically becomes a sauna.
Wow, you're a fucking masochist.
Yeah.
That's how we do.
What kind of fucking sociopath takes a scalding hot shower for 5 to 10 minutes?
Sometimes I do like 20 minutes in scalding showers.
What?
Sometimes I'll be there for like 20 minutes.
Jesus.
2 minutes?
Mm-hmm. That's
Oh
how
my
we
god.
go.
Fuck me, your skin must be like just perpetually fucking red.
Oh yeah.
Red like
How often do you take showers?
Usually 10 minutes.
No, how often?
Every day.
Huh. Wow, that's...
That's yeah.
10 minutes of scalding hot water every goddamn day.
Yes, I know it's bad for my skin, but I enjoy it.
At least you're not one of those fucking psychopaths that takes cold showers, unironically, you know?
They deserve to be shot.
Yeah.
They deserve like the highest form of punishment.
Punishment, yeah.
Yeah, little did everyone knows the 10th circle of hell, reserved specifically for people who enjoy taking cold showers.
Yeah.
And the 11th is for feet. No, no.
God damn it, you fucking said that right as I was taking a sip of water.
You can't lie to me, Titan, and you can't lie to me, Ainz. We all know that the 11th one is just for those people. They're Satan's personal bodyguards.
Oh god. Well, I mean, it checks out, because Satan is sticking out of a fucking hole in the ground, and the 11th circle would be right below it.
He rewards them with his toes.
Someone's gonna fucking... We're eventually gonna get to the point where people start unironically writing fanfics about us, and that's gonna be a fucking recurring theme. Satan rewarding his minions with his toes.
If that's true, then Titan likes feet.
Yep.
Titan loves feet. It's a thing now.
Oh wait, fuck,
Yes.
Your voice fucking cut out for a second there. I didn't realize what you said. I do not like feet. I think feet are gross.
That's a lie.
Then why do you have...
Why do you watch Naruto for?
Don't fucking watch Naruto.
Titan definitely doesn't watch it for the plot.
Yeah.
I don't even watch Naruto anymore. I watched it when I was like 12.
I don't think we even watched it.
Ainz likes noses.
So, happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
Yep, happy
By the time
Halloween.
this video comes out, it'll hopefully be Halloween. Right now, it's the 27th.
Yep.
Don't tell him that. You gotta pretend you're like a mystical wizard. You gotta say that I posted it on the same day too. And this was recorded.
Yep. Actually,
I'm a
it's
fucking otherworldly creature who can edit faster than any human being alive.
Yes, sir. The scariest thing this year is that the McRib is back.
The McRib's always back.
the McRib is back.
Is it for like the last time though?
Oh,
I think it is, right? The last time.
but it's scary.
The last.
And it's even scarier. Wendy's Pretzel Pub is back.
You know what's scarier? Pumpkin spice is back.
Oh God.
That shit's more terrifying than anything
The
else.
basic white bitch drink. It's not even real pumpkin.
Cinnamon, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have a question. Alright.
Yeah.
Who's the basic white bitch for us?
Out of our group?
Yes, for our group.
Well, I mean, my instinct would be to go with Salty since he's the only white one in the group.
Yeah.
He's more like a Visco girl.
Ah, that's true, yeah.
Remember when those were a thing?
Yeah. Unfortunately. Well, I refuse to be labeled the basic white bitch in the group, so it's either you or Ainz.
No, Ainz is more like the otaku in the group. He knows everything on him.
Alright, Shiro. Alright, Shiro, I guess that leaves you as the fucking basic white bitch in the group. Even though you're Asian.
Shh, that's a secret, man. That's a secret. I sound really white through my voice.
No, you don't.
Shut the fuck up. We all know I sound Latino. I think out of all of us.
Oh my god, remember Latinx? Remember when that was a thing?
Yeah, people tried to make it into a thing.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
And everyone was like, please stop it. You're ruining our culture.
Latino people were the people who were getting the angriest about people saying Latinx.
Yeah, obviously. It doesn't make sense. Like,
exactly. Latinx isn't even a Spanish word.
You know what?
Yeah.
We should have we should just fuck with them and did like Russian grammar rules with it. So like, it's for like male people from like the Latin community, right? It would be like, I don't know. It would just be like Latine. Girls would be like Latina, right? And then like gender neutral, right? For both of them, it would be like Latine or like Latino. If we did it like by like Russian grammar rules, right? Wouldn't that just make more sense?
Yeah. Although something that always confused me, is it pronounced Latinx, Latin X, or Latinx?
Nobody knows because it doesn't make. There's no proper pronunciation in Spanish because.
Exactly.
It just doesn't. No.
That's why I choose to call it Latinkerbell.
Titan, you're gonna get your ass hunted down by a bunch of Mexicans. You're gonna be like on a plane. You're gonna be like World War Z. Fuck the zombies.
That's fucking one of my biggest peeves when it comes to the whole politically correct thing, is just them randomly inserting the letter X into words that X doesn't belong in.
No, definitely.
Like, did you see that some people say Womexan instead of women?
Womexan?
Yeah, it's WOMXN.
Sounds stupid.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Actually, that reminds me of like all of those like things like extreme sports with the X.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've even seen some people say "sir" spelled XIR.
Sound like an alien name or
For
something.
me, I see it as XTRENE. So you just omit the first E.
Yeah. And obviously the worst one, X-A12 Musk, Elon Musk's son.
Look, it's not as bad.
Ironically, what?
It's not as bad as how Thai people laugh on the internet. They just type in 5s.
Oh God. I like to imagine Thai people laugh like that in real life. You tell them a joke and they're just like, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. That's so funny.
Bro, in Japanese, typing them with W.
They literally just verbally say 5.
This.
The funny thing is, alright, in Thai, 5 is ha.
Oh, that explains a lot.
But it doesn't make the Japanese have no excuse. They just type in W's. Alright, the Japanese have no excuse.
Now I like to imagine when a Japanese person laughs, it just sounds like whoa, 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 whoa.
That's them having a stroke.
You know, it's funny. In regards to Elon Musk's son, someone actually pointed out that, like, if you look at his name, it's like XAE, that weird letter that's like A and E mixed together, and then A-12. And so, if you fucking... X could be interpreted as the Greek letter chi, right? And then you got the AE that makes like an I sound, right? And then 12, the 12th letter of the alphabet is L, so his name is Kyle.
Wait a minute. No. The X in Greek? It's a H.
Yeah.
So it's H.
No, it's Kai.
The fuck? Does...
Okay, hang on. I'm googling it
It's
right
a
now.
H.
Greek alphabet. Okay.
Because they have a K.
We'll see, smartass. I'm looking at it right now. The X is spelled fucking CHI, and fucking. Okay, hang on.
C?
How?
Yeah, it's H.
To
That's H.
how to pronounce CHI Greek letter?
It's he.
It's pronounced Kai.
Bullshit! Play the audio. Play the audio. I'm telling you, it's H.
Okay, motherfucker. Hear that?
No, I don't.
No.
Hang on, fucking. Let me just. Subscribe and hear it.
So, it's the Greek X letter, often spelled CHI in English. In English, this is generally said and referred to as Kai.
Told you.
No, I heard a H. I heard a H in there. Let me.
Όπως το ότι Τάνας κάνει απόλυτο λάθος και θα κάνω τα πάντα για να το πνέω για να αποδείξω ότι το χ είναι ήχος λαιμού και όχι ήχος κάπα.
No, said Kai.
Let's check the Wikipedia. Let me blast this out loud.
You can cope as much as you want, motherfucker. It's pronounced Kai.
I will fucking fight you. Yes, Steele, go for it. In modern Greek, it has two distinct pronunciations. In front of higher front vowels, E or I, it is pronounced as a voiceless fricative, like the German ich, or like H in some pronunciations of the English word like human and human. No, fuck, human. And in front of low or back vowels, A, O, or U, and consonants, it is pronounced as a voiceless velar fricative, as in German ach.
Bro, I looked it up. It's literally pronounced Kai.
I will.
The pronunciation was written as K-A-I.
Bro, some people write the letter X for Russian as that, but it's H. I will fucking fight for this letter.
Russians are allowed to be wrong, okay?
I will fucking fight you. You know what though? No, fuck. Titan. You know what though? This is more civil than your average Greek and Turkish debate.
That is fair.
Did you ever see that video I sent you guys of the Greek versus Turkish debate?
No.
So okay, so in the video,
I
right?
have seen my big fat Greek wedding though.
So in the video, it's these two guys, right? They're arguing a lot, which is Hagia Sophia, right? Is it Greek or is it Turkish, right? So the Greek guy, right? He was like, "I am Greek god. I have strong sperm. My sperm has Greek gods." and he was like, the Turkish guy was
my
like,
god, that reminds me of a fucking green text I saw earlier today, right? It was talking about this guy, this fucking weirdo, who was like, yeah, I was pissed off at my roommate and his girlfriend, so I fucking nutted in her fucking shampoo.
"What the fuck?"
What?
and then my roommate came up to me and said, "Hey man, my girlfriend just found out she's pregnant. Now now I don't know if it was me, but they're both white and I'm Greek as fuck." And literally the first comment was, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Bro, Europeans are like the most amazing people, yet the most weirdest people I know.
Yeah.
They're like the most fucking racist, yet the most friendliest people you will know on this earth. Did you wait? So like, I'm not sure if you guys know this, right? But there's like a city in Russia. It's a little Siberian city, so that means like they're Asian, right?
Yeah.
And you wanna know what they're well known for?
What?
Take a guess. Take a guess.
Bears.
How about you, Ainz?
What?
You try to guess what they're popular for.
I don't know. Like box or something? I don't know.
Cupcakes, baked goods, and pistols.
Pistol? Yes.
So, Ainz,
Sometimes you just want to buy a pistol at the same place you buy a fucking croissant. I don't know.
Ainz
Yeah.
didn't.
They put the gun inside the croissant.
Yeah, can you imagine, right? It's like, you know how like some birthday cakes has like a woman or like a man who pops out like "Happy birthday," right?
Yeah.
It's like you get a birthday cake, right? It's just gunfire from the cake. Yeah.
They're getting stopped by the birthday cake.
Well, that would be a Floridian thing. That's why I believe
Yeah.
Russia is just the European Florida.
I wouldn't even say Russia, more like just that region of Russia, you know?
The funny thing is, I'm pretty sure the crime rate there is pretty high too.
Yeah, that checks out.
No, actually, no.
Something, 13% of the population, Siberian people, make up 13% of the population, but 50% of the violent crimes. You heard it here first, folks.
What was it? And,
Don't cancel us.
to this day, what we should do is, Florida men aren't, like, Florida isn't Florida anymore, right? We should stop using that comparative. Florida is the Balkans of North America. You cannot lie to me and say it's not. It's the Balkans of the Americas.
What's the Balkans of Asia?
We all know that's Japan and Korea.
Yeah, no. Hang the fuck on. I figured it would have been like, I don't know, Afghanistan or something. That's in Asia, right?
Oh yeah. That's the Middle East. Yeah. I want to say.
I mean, it's technically part of Asia.
Yeah, it is. Israel, maybe Israel. I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe, who knows? No one.
It is wild to me
What?
that the Middle East is considered to be entirely in Asia and Africa, and Europe doesn't have any Middle Eastern countries.
I think Turkey's the closest thing that Europe will ever get to the Middle East.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see that Turkey actually changed the spelling of its name?
Yeah, so it's to match the Turkish spelling, Turkey.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that with the umlaut?
I don't know, man. I kind of miss the turkey jokes, you know?
Yeah.
You know what though? At least it's still something. You know what? No, let's be honest, right? People in America won't give a shit. They're still gonna pronounce it as turkey, no matter if there's like a umlaut or
Exactly,
a
yeah.
Yeah.
There's gonna be like it's silent. It's like those romantic things, like
Oh my god. It reminds me of that one story, the BFG, you know, the big friendly giant, where he's talking about how different, like, humans from different countries taste. And he's like, humans from Turkey taste like Swiss cheese, and humans from Switzerland taste like turkey.
oh god.
Oh my god.
You know there was a war.
Oh
A
my.
cause war with Turkey and Switzerland.
Wait, for real?
No, I'm just kidding. I'll be funny though. If like Turkey was just like fuck it, let's have a war with Switzerland. You know what was it? If you're in a war, you know how bad you're fucking up is like when like Switzerland wants to go against you. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah.
You fucked up so badly. Even the Swiss want to fucking kick your ass.
And of course the Swiss aren't gonna play fair. Like, we invented the Geneva Conventions. That doesn't mean we have to play by it.
We're the creators. I'll be fucked up. Like, what if like we figure out right? The Swiss can like commit like the most heinous war crimes.
There's a fucking loophole in the Geneva Conventions that says only the Swiss can do it.
They use like, you know, like, oh, so you fuck with us, right? There's like napalm, flamethrowers.
Yeah.
You know, that's America's wet dream right there. To use those things again.
Well, you know, it's the United States catchphrase of the fucking army, you know? It's not a war crime the first time.
I mean, they're not wrong.
Oh my god, now I'm just thinking of all those fucking memes where it's like me after eating the $5 special at Chipotle and going into the bathroom to violate the Geneva Conventions.
You killed 5
Attention
children!
FBI, my threat to blow up the bathroom was not related to a bomb.
Oh god.
As you can see, we're very mature
We're
here.
very mature.
Yeah.
We're very dark humored. There's no in between.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, how would you guys feel, right, if you lived in Britain and you randomly got shanked by like a claymore sword?
Honestly, I'd be more impressed than anything.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to know where the hell they got it, given that Britain is, you know, Britain.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Ainz? How would you feel if you got shanked by a claymore sword?
I don't know. I'll probably be dead before I think about anything.
I'll be screaming and then
Yeah, it's a
dead.
pretty big sword. You'd probably die pretty quickly.
True.
Honestly, I'd be impressed if the guy is able to actually use it like a shank. You know, just like one hand, rapidly stabbing someone back and forth. You know.
You don't know. That man might have free time. He has lots of free time.
Oh shit.
Especially if he's Scottish. There's nothing there in Scotland.
Oh.
There's nothing there in Scotland.
Oh god.
Even the Scottish admit it. Do you see that one movie where it was with Ewan McGregor? Where he's playing as this
That is very vague.
he was playing as like this Scottish guy and this, I mean, of course he's Scottish, right? It takes place in like Scotland.
The movie where Ewan McGregor plays a Scottish guy in Scotland.
But it's like, okay, so like the scene is right. He's like, He was like, for fuck's sake, there's nothing in Scotland. He was like, we got conquered by people who didn't even have good culture, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. I just want to go back to that. You're so fucking bad at describing movies.
Fuck you.
Fucking that one Jackie Chan movie where he plays a Chinese guy and he lives in China.
You know what though? At least I know how to make Greek sounds. Like he.
Oh fuck you.
He.
It's I.
Ainz back all of a sudden. Choose a favorite parent.
Yeah, be fucking gay as hell.
Choose a favorite parent.
Please pick on me.
Captain will go grab milk and never return to you.
Oh my god.
I'm forever gonna figure out how to use that against you. It is he. And I won't back it up. Oh, do you know Rick and Morty are in Fortnite?
Wait, what?
Rick and Morty are in Fortnite?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Everything is.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah, Fortnite is easily the most ambitious crossover of all time. Like, not even ironically, it literally is.
I just made you say the same thing that you said in one of the videos I'm editing right now. So you literally said word for word.
That's the most ambitious crossover in history.
Yeah. You literally said what you said word for word.
It's true.
Yep.
I trapped you, Titan. Do you just sigh?
God, how fucking long is it gonna take Salty to show up?
I don't know.
Yeah, it would have been like some time now.
I get that he said he got into a fight with his sister, but I mean, how fucking long is that supposed to take?
It could be days, it could be months. It could be years.
I mean, what kind of fight are we talking about? Is it like a verbal fight or a physical fight? Because if it's a physical fight, it should have been over pretty quick.
You don't know. You won't give shit. Fuck. Salty won't give up so easily.
Exactly. That's why it would be over pretty quickly. I'm saying that he would win pretty quickly.
His sister feels offended. I hope you feel happy.
Yeah.
His sister's gonna find where you are and she's gonna beat your ass. She's gonna grab her.
I get off on offending people.
She's gonna grab her pistol high heel and shoot you.
Oh my god.
It's 50 cal bitches.
Speaking of offending people, the past 2 days, every time I walk to class, I pass by this fucking, just these two random dudes on a platform preaching for like hours on end.
Are they Mormon?
Through a microphone. I don't think they are. But it's just like it's the same kind of shit you'd expect from these kinds of people. Just fucking, oh, you gotta praise God and Jesus and don't watch porn and don't let the devil win, you know, that kind of stuff. Except at one point, the guy also said that slavery was abolished in 1773.
Oh, okay. Yeah, don't believe in that church. Run away from it.
Off by about 100 years.
I'm pretty sure
so.
that's Satan himself. He's trying to get you away from the church.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny is there's this video of these Mormons, right? And this lady was trying to give them vodka, and the guy, he just smiled. He took it and smashed it on the ground. He just looked at her deep in the eyes and just smiled and waved. And she was just staring at the vodka that was on the ground.
Oh my god.
And it was like a big bottle. No, fuck. Titan. It was like at least 2 liters.
No, see, I don't even understand why he had to say that it was vodka, because vodka is colorless and flavorless. Like, you can just tell someone it's water and trick them into drinking it.
Oh yeah, it was still in its bottle too.
Yeah.
So like that didn't help too. That was in its obvious vodka bottle.
Yeah. Fucking probably got like fucking Smirnoff printed right on the front. Big red cap.
In Cyrillic.
Yeah.
It's in like Cyrillic. She got it imported from Russia.
Yeah. You know, Mormons aren't allowed to drink caffeine.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. One of my teammates, I played football. He was like, yeah, I can't drink soda or coffee.
Yeah.
I was like, why?
My great grandpa, he's like a missionary, right? He found a loophole that allows him to drink Coke Zero.
Wait, what? What's the loophole? Like,
okay, if Salty doesn't show up in the next 10 minutes, we're just gonna continue with what we're gonna do today.
Wait, what was it? What was the loophole? Like, what's like?
Oh, basically, he can't drink anything with caffeine in it, but Coke Zero doesn't have any caffeine in it.
Oh, it doesn't?
I mean, I don't think it does. I just know he fucking drank it all the time and said it was because of a loophole.
It's like the people when we banned alcohol, people were finding loopholes.
Exactly. Honestly, I can't think of a fate worse than being forced to drink sugar-free soda for all of eternity.
Yeah.
Oh no, those loins that they wear are pretty they give that drip vibe, you know, the loins that they wear. It's all worth it for the drip.
Yep.
Oh, and a planet.
Yes,
Mormon heaven.
Right, you get your own planet, yes. Although, at Judgment Day, all of your thoughts that you've ever had will be played on a screen for the world to see.
Yo, that'd be embarrassing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I know every fucking person in this group is gonna fucking shoot themselves as soon as they see that screen appear in the sky.
Yep.
Even the viewers would do it.
Yeah. I have thought of some dark shit
Haven't we
that
all?
I don't want anyone to know about, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I get you.
We're listening to ourselves, right?
It's like, especially if it's like very weird, like a very, very weird, and it's out of the blue. Because you can't control your thoughts sometimes; they just appear.
Exactly, yeah. But that's what Mormons teach. They try to teach you to fucking control your own thoughts. It's basically like thought crime, you know?
Oh. It's kind of like worrisome, because then you... Huh? What happened, Titan? You're lagging a little bit for me.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, you're lagging for me a little bit.
No, you were saying about the Mormons?
Yeah. So
No, it's just like, because it brings up so much unnecessary anxiety to you. Unnecessary, anyways.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because fucking you're led to believe that every thought you have... Oh, fucking finally.
Hey, bitches. Oh, hey, bitch.
Hey, female dog.
Hey, white Snoop Dogg.
You're muted.
Oh.
Yo.
Hey, yo, white Snoop Dogg. My fellow broski.
Or he just keeps muting.
Yeah, because I have something on going in the background and I'm trying not to make noise, but I have to like do a bunch of shit before coming on the call.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, we're just about to start, so that...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys start yet?
No, we were waiting
No,
for you.
we're waiting for you.
You guys don't have to wait for me. I thought you guys were just going to record without me.
Bro, you literally arrived 5 minutes before we were going to start without you.
Oh, okay. We're good.
It's our Halloween topic that we are definitely filming on Halloween. We're absolutely not filming it 4 days early.
Yep. Most definitely.
Okay, so you guys, I have 5 stories prepared for us tonight, whatever.
Yeah.
They are all crappy pastas.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, first one is a certified hood classic, Jeff the Killer.
Already we can tell it's the best.
Prepare to cringe. Prepare to cringe.
We are ready.
My body.
Excerpt from a local newspaper. Ominous unknown killer is still at large. After weeks of unexplained murders, the ominous unknown killer, which I guess is just Jeff's serial killer name. Fucking A+ on the name right there.
Yep.
The ominous unknown killer is still on the rise. After little evidence has been found, a young boy states that he survived one of the killer's attacks and bravely tells his story. I had a bad dream, and I woke up in the middle of the night, says the boy. I saw that for some reason the window was open, even though I remember it being closed before I went to bed. I got up and shut it once more. Now, I ask you, when's the last time you heard a small child say once more instead of again?
You know what? Never. Never. Like, that small child is like an
Exactly.
adult. That's actually just an adult.
Yeah.
It's a midget.
Afterwards, oh my god, the fucking adult speak continues. Afterwards, I simply crawled under my covers and tried to get back to sleep. That's when I had a strange feeling, like someone was watching me. I looked up and nearly jumped out of my bed. This is how a child talks. This is how this story should go if it's an actual child, right? I was sleeping, and then I had a bad dream, and then I saw some guy in my window.
And I took a fat shit!
Saw the guy in my window, and he was scary, and he killed my daddy, and he was staring at me. This child is from Texas, I do declare.
I feel like most children wouldn't even speak after something like that happened. They'd probably be traumatized.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway. There, in the little ray of light illuminating from between my curtains, fucking... Okay. They don't, to their credit, they don't say how old the boy is. But illuminating?
They say boy, but he's actually a 19-year-old.
Illuminating from between my curtains were a pair of 2 eyes. These weren't regular eyes, they were dark, ominous eyes.
So basically the eyes of any teenager who's like sleep deprived.
Exactly. They were bordered in black. Fucking hell. They just can't be bothered to make it sound like a child said it, you know?
He's just wearing eyeliner, bro. What's the problem?
They were bordered in black and just plain out terrified me. That's when I saw his mouth, a long, horrendous smile that made every hair on my body stand up. I am definitely a little boy with a normal little boy vocabulary, and definitely not a fucking 30-year-old man pretending to be a child.
He just had a nightmare about God. That's it. Easy.
The figure stood
He
there.
saw in the window. He's like, holy shit, he's real.
Yeah, the figure stood there, watching me. Finally, after what seemed like forever, he said it. A simple phrase, but said in a way only a madman could speak. Because I, at the tender age of fucking 6 to 12, definitely am knowledgeable of the world enough to know what madmen sound like. He said, "Go to sleep." I let out a scream. That's what sent him at me. He pulled up a knife, aiming at my heart. He jumped on top of my bed. I fought him back. I kicked, I punched, I rolled around trying to knock him off me. That's when my dad busted in. The man threw the knife. It went into my dad's shoulder. The man probably would have finished him off if one of the neighbors hadn't alerted the police.
You know, I feel like it's realistic if this happens in America.
Uh-huh.
I feel like that guy would have ran in with a shotgun and just blasted his fucking head off.
For real.
Yeah.
Being honest here, like a lot of these horror movies, right? That's my problem with horror movies nowadays, right? This is why I like psychological thriller in comparison to like jump scare horror. Because half of the movies that go on and it's different if it's in another part of the world, right? Like Japanese horror movies and whatnot, right? But if the horror movie happened in America, like, let's be honest, if the horror isn't like supernaturally durable, they're probably gonna get their brains blasted out by some Texan coming out there with like 3 shotguns strapped to his back.
Exactly. And also I love how it implies that the neighbors alerted the police immediately after hearing the kids scream, and then the police just showed up in the fucking like 10 seconds that he's been trying to fight this guy off.
Imagine if this was a black kid. The police wouldn't even show up to that neighborhood, dog.
Bro, we all know it would take like 10-30 minutes.
Neighborhood, the cops would be like, fuck.
Okay, everyone shut up. One person at a time. Fucking Shiro, yes?
We all know it takes 20-30 minutes for the police to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, they drove into the parking lot and ran towards the door. The man turned and ran down the hallway. I heard a smash, like glass breaking. As I came out of my room, I saw the window that was pointing towards the back of my house was broken. I looked out it to see him vanish into the distance. I can tell you one thing, I will never forget that face. Those cold, evil eyes and that psychotic smile, they will never leave my head. So yeah, that was the child, guys. The child who was definitely a child and not an adult. Police are still on the look. Oh my god, police are still on the look for this man.
This is why I prefer more ambiguous and vague horror stories. Because when it's realistic, right, it just completely ruins my immersion.
Yeah.
But I like the horror stories, like, a lot of my favorite endings for horror stories is the ones where, like, you're not sure if it's in the main character's head or if it actually happened. Like, that's more believable to me, those kinds of stories.
Personally, I'm a little old-fashioned. I like my horror stories to be just a simple guy gets chased by serial killer story.
Yeah. No, those are fine, right? But it's like, you gotta at least try and make it somewhat realistic. I hate horror movies where the main characters are like retarded. Like, you should focus on making your killer smart rather than making your character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I like about Cabin in the Woods, because they actually have an excuse for it. Like, the main villains are pumping a gas into the room that the main characters are in that is actually making them stupider.
Oh, really?
That makes more sense.
I wonder what gas that is then. That'd be interesting to have access to. I feel like if that gas existed, the U.S. government would probably be using that for all their fucking citizens.
Oh yeah, definitely. Maybe
anyway, police are still on the look for this man. If you see anyone that fits the description in this story that was definitely narrated by a child, please contact your local police department. And then immediate next paragraph, like not even some kind of break or anything, just immediate next paragraph. Jeff and his family had just moved into a new neighborhood. His dad had gotten a promotion at work, and they thought it would be best to live in one of those fancy neighborhoods. Like, is this part of the fucking newspaper? What's going on?
Yeah, not even a transition? Like, come on.
Yeah, they couldn't even fucking put, like, 3 dashes in the middle of the fucking thing.
Kind of sad.
Okay, Jeff and his brother Lou couldn't complain, though. A new, better house. What was not to love? As they were getting unpacked, one of their neighbors came by. "Hello," she said. "I'm Barbara." I don't know why this takes place in Texas. Fucking fight me. I live across the street from
it's not realistic if it's in Texas, because all the people in Texas own fucking guns.
Fucking... I don't know, fucking... I feel committed to this accent.
Considering where Shiro has lived before, he can probably attest that there's definitely better states to do this in where their people are actually that idiotic.
Bro, New Jersey.
We're in New Jersey then.
LA don't own guns.
Okay, we're in New Jersey then. Hello, I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you. Well, I just wanted to introduce, oh my god, myself, as spelled as 2 words. And to introduce my son, she turns around and calls her son over. Billy, these are our new neighbors. Billy said hi and ran back to play in his yard. All right, what accent should Jeff and his family be?
Okay,
Remember, they're moving here from somewhere else.
I got a good idea, right?
Uh-huh.
You give them Irish accents.
Irish accents?
It is.
What did he say?
He said that Jeff and his family should have Irish accents.
Irish.
You can't be serious. You're just making go through all this effort.
Okay, I'm committed to it now. Well, said Jeff's mom, I'm Margaret, and this is my husband Peter and my two sons, Jeff and Lou. I apologize to all the Irish people watching this. They each introduced themselves, and then Barbara invited them to her son's birthday. Jeff and his brother were about to object when their mother said that they would love to. When Jeff and his family are done packing, Jeff went up to his mom. Like, Jeff didn't immediately object to it. He just waited until they were done packing. Probably took them like an hour or two. Fucking, now it's nighttime, everyone's tired, and now he wants to argue about it. Mom, why would you invite us to some kid's party? If you haven't noticed, I'm not some dumb kid. Jeff, said his mother, we just moved here. We should show that we want to spend time with our neighbors. Now we're going to that party and that's final. Jeff started to talk, but stopped himself, knowing that he couldn't do anything. Whenever his mom said something, it was final. He walked up to his room and plopped down on his bed. He sat there looking at his ceiling, when suddenly he got a weird feeling. Not so much a pain, but a weird feeling. He dismissed it as just some random feeling. He heard his mother call him down to get his stuff, feeling, and he walked down to get it, feeling. The next day, feeling. Jeff walked downstairs to get breakfast and got ready for school, feeling.
What?
It doesn't actually say feeling. I'm trying to make a point here.
Oh.
Yeah, I kind of got that.
As he sat... fuck. Hang on. As he sat there, eating his breakfast, he once again got that feeling. That time it actually did say feeling. This time it was stronger. It gave him a slight tugging pain, but he once again dismissed it. New headcanon, Jeff has a spider sense.
Oh. He's officially the new Spider-Man.
This is what Miles Morales is going to be. Nathan Black. This is what he was going to be.
Yeah. As he and Lou finished breakfast, they walked down to the bus stop. They sat there waiting for the bus, and then all of a sudden, some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches above their laps. They both jumped back in surprise. So were they sitting down or not?
They're floating. They're literally floating.
Hey, what the hell, mate? The kid landed and turned back to them. He kicked his skateboard up and caught it with his hands. The kid seems to be about 12, 1 year younger than Jeff. He wears a Aeropostale shirt and ripped blue jeans. Oh, well, it looks like we got some new meat. Suddenly 2 other kids appeared. One was super skinny and the other was huge. Well, since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Over there is Keith. Jeff and Lou looked over to the skinny kid. He had a dopey face that you would expect a sidekick to have. Shots fired. And he's Troy. They looked over at the fat kid. Talk about a tub of lard. This kid looked like he hadn't exercised since he was crawling. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they're just roasting the fat kid.
Roasted.
And I, said the first kid, am Randy. Now, for all the kids in this neighborhood, there is a small price for bus fare, if you catch my drift. Lou stood up, ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes, when one of his friends pulled a knife on him.
Holy shit.
Tisk, tisk, tisk. I had hoped you would be more cooperative, but it seems we must do this the hard way, because apparently Randy is a fucking Bond villain. Guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, why were you all muted?
I've been muted the whole time. I don't know why they muted.
Oh, I just saw.
I had to do something.
Copycat? What the fuck, guys?
I saw Ainz muted. I was like, are we all muting for the story?
You can't even come up with your own gimmick. You gotta copy me, huh?
Anyway, as I was saying, Randy is talking like a Bond villain. The kid walked up to Lou and took his wallet out of his pocket. Jeff got that feeling again. Now it was truly strong, a burning sensation. My psycho senses are tingling. He stood up, but Lou gestured him to sit down. Jeff ignored him and walked up to the kid. Listen here, you little punk. Oh, fuck it. Listen here, you little punk. Give back my bro's wallet or else. Randy put the wallet in his pocket and pulled out his own knife. Oh, and what will you do? Just as he finished the sentence, Jeff popped the kid in the nose, and then Jeff turned toward the camera and said, "It's Jeffin' time."
Wait, you added that in, right? Please tell me you added that in.
Yes.
Okay,
I added that in. Can you fucking imagine though? What?
I said that would have given me the worst case of narrative whiplash ever. They just realized how bad their writing was for a horror story. Like, fuck it, this is a comedy now.
I'd like to think that it was an actual sentence, but this story was written way before the "It's Morbin time" meme, so...
Sad.
It's sad.
Anyway, Jeff popped the kid in the nose. As Randy reached for his face, Jeff grabbed the kid's wrist and broke it.
What the fuck?
Jeff, this fucking skinny teenager, just broke a kid's wrist. Another guy's wrist, right? Just like fucking one hand. Randy screamed and Jeff grabbed the knife from his hand. Troy and Keith rushed Jeff, but Jeff was too quick. He threw Randy to the ground. Keith lashed out at him, but Jeff ducked and stabbed him in the arm. Keith dropped his knife and fell to the ground screaming. Troy rushed him too, but Jeff didn't even need the knife. He just punched Troy straight in the stomach and Troy went down. As he fell, he puked all over. Okay, now this is turning into a fucking teen comedy. They punch the fat guy in the stomach and he just starts fucking puking. Lou could do nothing but look. What?
Was it Willy Wonka with the blueberry kid and they had to squeeze him?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Get the blueberry juice out or something like that?
Yeah, but they didn't show it on screen.
Something like that, yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, Lou could do nothing but look in amazement at Jeff. Jeff, how did you... That was all he said. They saw the bus coming and knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing. So they started... they knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing because they fucking did it. Jeff fucking assaulted 3 kids. So they started running as fast as they could. What?
Isn't he a kid himself technically at this time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he is still a kid, but he fucking escalated the situation.
Well, they pulled a knife on them. Like the bullies, or whoever he beat up, they pulled a knife on him.
Oh, true.
Yes, but then Jeff had the knife.
So So did these kids come out bothering them, and then Jeff pulled the knife?
No, one of the kids pulled a knife on Jeff. Jeff broke his nose and his wrist, and then grabbed the knife from him, and then stabbed one of the other kids.
Yeah, it's just self-defense, easy.
True, that makes sense. Self-defense.
As they ran, because why bother fucking explaining yourself? They looked back and saw the bus driver rushing over to Randy and the others. As Jeff and Lou made it to school, they didn't dare tell what happened. Oh my god. All they did was sit and listen. Lou just thought of that as his brother beating up a few kids, but Jeff knew it was more. It was something scary. As he got that feeling, he felt how powerful it was, the urge to just hurt someone. He didn't like how it sounded, but he couldn't help feeling happy. He felt that strange feeling go away and stay away for the entire day of school, even as he walked home due to the whole thing near the bus stop, and how now he probably wouldn't be taking the bus anymore. He felt happy. When he got home, his parents asked him how his day was, and he said in a somewhat ominous voice, "It was a wonderful day." Next morning, he heard a knock at his front door. He walked down to find 2 police officers at the door, his mother looking back at him with an angry look. Jeff, these officers tell me that you attacked 3 kids, that it wasn't regular fighting and that they were stabbed. Stabbed, son. Jeff's gaze fell to the floor, showing his mother that it was true. Goddamn, kid can't even lie. Can't lie for shit.
No.
Mom, they were the ones who pulled the knives on me and Lou. Son, said one of the cops, we found 3 kids, 2 stabbed. By the way, Keith was the only one who was stabbed, so these guys aren't even good at doing their job.
They're planting evidence to get him arrested for being different.
One having the bruise on his stomach, and we have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now what does that tell us? Jeff knew it was no use. He could say him and Lou had been attacked, but then there was no proof it was not them who attacked first. They couldn't say that they weren't fleeing, because truth be told they were, so Jeff couldn't defend himself or Lou. Son, call down your brother. Jeff couldn't do it, since it was him who beat up all the kids. Sir, it was me. I was the one who beat up the kids. Lou tried to hold me back. Fuck no, he didn't, but he couldn't stop me. The cop looked at his partner and they both nod. Well, kid, looks like a year in juvie. What? Says Lou. They all looked up to see him holding a knife. The officers pulled their guns and locked them on Lou. It was me. I beat up those little punks. Have the marks to prove it. He lifted up his sleeves to reveal cuts and bruises as if he was in a struggle. Insert emo joke here. Son, just put the knife. What?
I said, not funny, didn't laugh.
Oh, fuck you. Son, just put the knife down, said the officer. Lou held up the knife and dropped it to the ground. He put his hands up and walked over to the cops. No, Lou, it was me. I did it. Jeff had tears running down his face. I like to imagine that Jeff is an ugly crier, you know? Right, he's got fucking tears, snot, spit, just all running down his face.
Sociopath, but they don't cry. Unless it's for like, no, I guess maybe a sociopath would cry in this situation if they thought it would give them a benefit.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, Jeff is very inconsistent because, spoiler alert, Jeff is the fucking serial killer, right? But he's kind of written as a psychopath who loves killing people, but at the same time he's also written as being like sympathetic. Right? Part of the reason the story is so like, part of the reason everyone fucking hates the story is because his characterization is very inconsistent.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Poor bro, trying to take the blame. Oh fuck, god damn it. They didn't have any fucking indicators of who was talking. Poor bro, trying to take the blame for what I did. Well, take me away. The police led Lou out to the patrol car. And fucking, he calls him bro, as if any fucking siblings do that.
No one ever says that. That's like, like it's like you have.
That's how you can tell the writer is an only child.
Yes, that's the one way.
It doesn't even have a fucking exposition purpose because we already know that they're brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun fact: my fucking sister, she's like 8 years younger than me. And one day she was watching a lot of like Netflix shows, right? Like the kind of, she was like, I don't know, 6 at the time. And one day she just walks up to me like, "Hey, bro, what's up?" Like, talking to me? Why you acting so weird, motherfucker? Aren't you gonna call me sis? No, go away. For me, it's fucking completely ruined for me because every time I hear 2 people refer to each other as bro and sis, I just immediately think of porn.
Come on, stepfool.
I thought that's normally more like stepsis in the kind of like porn stuff.
Right, yeah, but like the fact that they call each other step bro and step sis is even more fucking stilted, you know?
I feel like the way you can tell there's a relationship that is like Like, you can tell it's like a porno when they're actually nice to each other.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Most siblings are not nice to each other outwardly.
Yeah. Oh no, step bro, I'm stuck in the washing machine.
I'll help you. Like, no. You know what would happen if somebody actually had been in the washing machine and it was their stepbrother? Fucking laugh their ass off, bro. Like, bitch, you guys just got stuck in there with what? You have the IQ of fucking peanut? Jesus.
I remember this meme I saw that was like fucking when you say that you're stuck in the washing machine and your stepson helps you out instead of railing you in the ass, and then it just said like angry MILF noises.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Anyway. Luke, tell him it was me. Tell him I was the one who beat up those kids. Jeff's mother put her hands on his shoulders. Jeff, please, you don't have to lie. We know it's Lou. You can stop. Jeff watched helplessly as the cop car speeds off with Lou inside. A few minutes later, Jeff's dad pulled into the driveway, seeing Jeff's face and knowing something was wrong. Son, what is it? Jeff couldn't answer. His vocal cords were strained from crying. Instead, Jeff's mother walked his father inside to break the bad news to him as Jeff wept in the driveway. After an hour or so, Jeff walked back into the house. And he was just crying in the driveway for a full hour. God damn.
If you're gonna cry, better make the world know about it.
This is entirely unrealistic. Like, how the fuck would he get easy anyway?
He's just a fucking mummy when he walks back in, like all the moisture has been released from his body.
Since when does kids get into a fight send somebody to juvie? Like, they didn't kill anyone.
Oh my god, I completely forgot about that. They took him to juvie without a trial.
Oh yeah, what the fuck? That's not just me, right? Like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Anyway, after an hour or so of ugly crying vigorously until he looked like a shriveled mummy, Jeff walked back into the house, seeing that his parents were both shocked, sad, and disappointed. I guess they've just been sitting there for an hour, looking out the window and watching him fucking cry in the driveway like a little bitch. He couldn't look at them. He couldn't see how they thought of Lou when it was his fault. He just went to sleep, trying to get the whole thing off his mind. 2 days went by with no word from Lou at JDC. I think that stands for Juvenile Detention Center.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
No friends to hang out with, nothing but sadness and guilt. That is until Saturday when Jeff is woke up by... Oh my god. When Jeff is woke up by his mother with a happy... Jesus. With a happy, sunshiny face.
Did you get him a puppy?
Jeff. What?
Is it a puppy?
No. Jeff, it's the day, she said.
Fucking word that you use to describe something.
Sunshiny?
I don't even think sunshiny is an actual word, yeah.
Let me look it up. Sun...
I like how this just turns to fucking grammar Nazi central. Like, you'd stop even critiquing it by this point. We're just making
Okay, I stand corrected. Sunshiny is a word. It's the adjective form of sunshine.
That can't be real.
I'm fucking looking at it right now.
Sunshiny or sunshiny?
Sunshiny. SUNSHINY.
I still refuse to believe that's a word. Like, you can't just...
I'm gonna fucking take a picture of it right now.
Hold on, let me look it up.
You see, Salty, this is just like me and we're arguing about the letter he.
It's I.
Me and Titan had an argument about
You said my name again, motherfucker.
Your name's like Beetlejuice. I gotta see it 3 times. You'll come out.
Okay, there, I put it in the chat.
I don't see it on Merriam-Webster.
Sunshiny.
I put it in the chat, I googled it, sunshiny is...
You can't just look it up and Google and use it. It's just a form of sunshine. That doesn't even mean anything. That's fucking stupid. You gotta go on Merriam-Webster, an actual website, and confirm it. Because I'm on Merriam-Webster right now, and it says that word does not exist.
Okay, So that is a knock against the story.
Yeah,
Glad
another
we resolved this fucking dispute.
Son of a bitch, get it right.
Jeff, it's the day, she said as she opened up the curtains and let light flood into his room. What's today? Asked Jeff as he stirs awake. What, it's Billy's party. He was now fully awake. Mum, you're joking, right? You don't expect me to go to some kid's party after. There was a long pause. Jeff, we both know what happened. I think this party could be the thing that brightens up the past days. Now get dressed. Jeff's mother walked out of the room and downstairs to get ready for herself. He fought himself to get up. He picked out a random shirt and pair of jeans and walked downstairs. He saw his mother and father all dressed up. His mother in a dress and his father in a suit. He thought why they would ever wear such fancy clothes to a kid's party. Son, is that all you're gonna wear? Said Jeff's mom. That isn't wearing too much, he said. His mother pushed down the feeling to yell at him and hit it with a smile. Okay, so his mother's a fucking bitch. Good to know. Now, Jeff, we may be overdressed, but this is how you go if you want to make an impression, said his father. No, it's how you go if you want to look like a fucking git.
I don't know what git means. Can you explain to me? I'm not familiar with it.
Oh my fucking god, it's a fucking British insult. It means, hang on, fucking git.
I'm genuinely asking because I've never heard that before.
Okay, yeah, git, an unpleasant or contemptible person.
Got it, okay.
Yeah. Okay. It doesn't actually say that in the story. That was me interjecting my own thoughts.
No, I know that. I just didn't know what it meant.
Jeff grunted and went back up to his room. I don't have any fancy clothes, he yelled downstairs. Just pick out something, called his mother. He looked around in his closet for what he would call fancy. He found a pair of black dress pants he had for special occasions and an undershirt. He couldn't find a shirt to go with it, though. He looked around and found only striped and patterned shirts, none of which go with dress pants. What I want to know is how the fuck does he have dress pants and not a shirt to go with it?
Didn't he say he had an undershirt?
Right, yeah, he said he had an undershirt, he just couldn't find a shirt to go with it.
I'm confused. Undershirt is like because like I wore a tuxedo recently for like, reasons.
Right.
You have like 3 layers, so like the undershirt should be fine, especially if it's like a casual thing.
Undershirt. Yeah, it's just fucking like t-shirt or something, but...
Yeah, like that should be fine.
Anyway, finally he found a white hoodie and put it on. Yeah, and yet apparently he has dress pants and an undershirt, and then he put on a white hoodie over it.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Put on a hoodie with dress pants. Let me just let that soak in.
This kid has the IQ of a fucking seal. And not like the big, like... Maybe that's not even a good insult. What was I gonna say? I wasn't gonna say seal. I watched a video on seals earlier, and that was immediately what I said.
He has the IQ of a manatee.
No, he has the IQ of a fucking peanut, bro. I swear to God.
You're wearing that, they both said. His mother looked at her watch. Oh, no time to change. Let's just go, she said as she herded Jeff and his father out the door. They crossed the street over to Barbara and Billy's house. They knocked on the door, and at it appeared... Jesus Christ! At it appeared that Barbara, just like his parents, way overdressed. I just had a stroke. As they walked inside, all Jeff could see were adults, no kids. Red flag. The kids are out in the yard. Jeff, how about you go and meet some of them? Said Barbara. Said Barbara, even though that sentence is a question. Jesus. Yo, is anyone still here? I feel like I'm talking to myself.
No, I'm still here.
Definitely still here.
Weird.
Okay, yeah, everyone was just silent for like a minute.
Nothing to say. The story is like not really doing anything right now. It's like in a low point.
Jeff walked outside to a yard full of kids. They were running around in weird cowboy costumes and shooting each other with plastic guns. He might as well be standing in a Toys R Us. Suddenly a kid came up to him and handed him a toy gun and hat. Hey, wanna play? He said. No, kid, I'm way too old for this stuff. The kid looked at him with that weird puppy dog face. Please, said the kid. Fine, said Jeff. He put on the hat and started to pretend to shoot at the kids. At first he thought it was totally ridiculous, but then he started to actually have fun. It might not have been super cool, but it was the first time he had done something that took his mind off Lou. So he played with the kids for a while until he heard a noise, a weird rolling noise. Then it hit them. Randy, Troy, and Keith all jumped over the fence on their skateboards.
What?
They fucking jumped over the fence on their skateboards. Keep in mind that Troy is supposed to be like absurdly fat and looks like he hadn't exercised since he crawled.
And this is a backyard. This is on grass. You can't ride a skateboard on grass.
No, of course not.
Exactly. Jeff dropped the fake gun and ripped off the hat. Randy looked at Jeff with a burning hatred. Hello, Jeff, is it? He said. We have some unfinished business. Jeff saw his bruised nose. I think we're even. I'll beat the crap out of you and you get my brother sent to JDC. Randy got an angry... Oh, by the way, I think I should mention... Randy still has a bruise on his nose from when Jeff punched him, and yet his wrist is fully healed.
Damn.
And keep in mind, this is like 3 days after the fight.
Yikes.
Damn, I wonder his healing factor. Is he fucking Wolverine?
Except his nose is still fucking bruised. Like, how does that work?
Magic.
Oh no, I don't go for even.
I don't believe it, alright? This kid is riding a skateboard on grass.
Oh no, I don't go for even. I go for winning. You may have kicked our asses that one day, but not today.
All I hear,
The fucking...
I can't stop. When
What?
you do that act, when you just said that, I just thought of John F. Kennedy just saying that. I don't know why, the way you said that just reminded me of
Why
him.
John? He doesn't even have that accent.
I don't know, but the way you just said it reminded me of him.
Yeah, keep in mind that these
Wait.
there are 3 guys
Wait,
fucking beating the... Yeah?
Who's John F. Kennedy?
What?
Who's John F. Kennedy?
Do you not know who John F. Kennedy is?
I'm kidding.
Oh, thank God. Fucking hell, man.
He's the CEO of GameStop, right?
Oh my God.
He's a sharing bastard, isn't he?
I'm gonna find you, Salty.
No, hey, Liz.
Keep in mind...
You're welcome to come any day. I'll kick your ass and I'll do it.
Fucking hell. Keep in mind, Randy, Keith, and Troy are beating the shit out of Jeff in front of a bunch of children, right? And then later, the adults are gonna come in. Just keep that in mind. Fucking... As he said that, Randy rushed at Jeff. They both fell to the ground. Randy punched Jeff in the nose, and Jeff grabbed him by the ears and headbutted him. Jeff pushed Randy off of him, and both rose to their feet. Kids were screaming, and parents were running out of the house. Troy and Keith both pulled guns out of their pockets.
Wait, what the fuck?
No one corrupt or guts will fly, they said.
Are these children or mob bosses? What the fuck?
Like, this is just such a fucking cringy setup. You know, these adults are being held at gunpoint and forced to watch 2 teenagers beat the shit out of each other.
This is like an anime where all the kids are like in the student council and have like all the power in the fucking world.
Exactly. Extra spicy version. Imagine that Jeff and Randy are actually All Might and the Nomu. Randy pulled a knife on Jeff and stabbed it into his shoulder. Jeff screamed and fell to his knees. Randy started kicking him in the face. After 3 kicks, Jeff grabs his foot and twists it, causing Randy to fall to the ground. Jeff stood up and walked towards the back door. Like, he just walked, you know, and didn't run, didn't, like, stumble or anything. He just walked casually. Troy grabbed him. Need some help? He picked... Oh my God, this is such a fucking cliche line. Need some help? He picks Jeff up by the back of the collar and throws him through the patio door.
Wait, what?
So clearly Troy is somewhat similar to the Kingpin in that he's actually only 2% fat.
He's
and the rest is all muscle.
No, forget 2%. 2% throw up. 2% throw up.
As Jeff tries to stand, he is kicked down to the ground. Randy repeatedly starts kicking Jeff until he starts to cough up blood. The way it's written, I like to imagine that Randy is kicking Jeff so hard that Randy is coughing up blood because he's overworking himself. Come on, Jeff, fight me. He picks Jeff up and throws him into the kitchen. I'm sorry, just a fucking visual.
Where's getting this strength from?
This fucking visual of this like fucking 15-year-old picking up another 15-year-old of roughly the same size over his head and tossing him into another room.
Kid would kick my ass, dude.
Randy sees a bottle of vodka on the counter and smashes the glass over Jeff's head. Fucking, these guys had vodka out during a fucking children's birthday party. Fight!
Where the fuck are the adults? This is like a whole ass party with adults in it.
Well, the adults were being held at gunpoint by both Keith and Troy, but then Troy fucking stepped out to throw Jeff through a fucking patio door. So now Keith is the only one holding them at gunpoint, presumably.
Yeah, like literally, they could have just changed. Like his parents could have just been like, "You son of a bitch, drop the gun," like easy.
Oh, true.
There are fucking like, I don't know, but I like to imagine there are like, what, 20 adults here? And these are fucking just 3 teenagers. Even if they have guns, you can easily just have one of the adults distract them while the other adult fucking tackles them or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, fight! He throws Jeff back into the living room. Come on, Jeff, look at me. Jeff glances up, his face riddled with blood. I don't think that's how blood works, but okay. I was the one who got your brother sent to JDC, and now you're just gonna sit here and let him rot in there for a whole year. You should be ashamed. Jeff starts to get up. Oh, finally, you stand and fight. Fucking, like, I said it before and I'll say it again. Randy talks like a fucking Bond villain.
He does.
He is a Bond villain, actually. He's really talented.
Yeah, Jeff is now to his feet, blood and vodka on his face. Once again, he gets that strange feeling, the one in which he hasn't felt for a while. Finally, he's up, says Randy as he runs at Jeff. That's when it happens. Something inside Jeff snaps. His psyche is destroyed. All rational thinking is gone. All he can do is kill. He grabs Randy and pile drives him to the ground.
For some reason, I'm thinking of like Wario. He just turns into Wario Jeff.
Keep in mind how much effort it takes to do a fucking pile drive. How much time it takes. Like, you gotta get the guy's legs, like, on your shoulders so that he's basically sitting on you, and then you gotta fucking slam him into the ground.
Oh,
Dude,
true.
they just launched each other through a fucking doorway, man. I don't think they care about strength requirements at this point.
You know, I'm thinking about a fucking power bomb. No, the pile drive is when you get the guy, and then you, like, hold him upside down and then slam him into the ground.
Oh.
Apparently, Jet the Killer is actually the Undertaker in disguise. He gets on top of him and punches him straight in the heart. The punch causes Randy's heart to stop. By the way, in real life, it would take several consecutive punches to the heart in order to make the heart stop.
Oh, and
I
definitely.
mean, I feel like at that point you're better off just like, I don't even think it's from the punches to the heart. I think it would just be the strength of the actual punches themselves just fucking killing him.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't think you
As
can
Randy,
just punch somebody in the general area of the heart and stop their heart. Like, you need to punch them hard enough to deal damage in general. By that point, it's like you can punch them everywhere.
yeah. As Randy gasps for breath, Jeff hammers down on him. Punch after punch, blood gushes from Randy's body until he takes one final breath and dies. So, fucking, he's doing this all wrong. He's supposed to kill the 2 henchmen first and then kill the leader.
He's just too eager for it. He wants to do it already. He wants to shock them. Strike fear into their heart.
Everyone is looking at Jeff now. The parents, the crying kids, even Troy and Keith. Although they easily break from their gaze, oh my god, and point their guns at Jeff. Okay, so now they're not even pointing the guns at the parents anymore. Fucking top tier henchmanning. Jeff sees the guns. Oh my god, Jeff sees, and sees is spelled SEE'. Jeff sees the guns trained on him and runs for the stairs. As he runs, Troy and Keith let out fire on him, each shot missing. So either Jeff can dodge bullets, or Troy and Keith are just terrible at shooting.
Hey, look, they're teens. What do you expect? I don't know.
I guess, but fucking Troy is strong enough to throw people through glass doors. Fucking Keith is probably super strong, I guess. Anyway, Jeff runs up the stairs. He hears Troy and Keith follow up behind. As they let out their final rounds of bullets, Jeff ducks into the bathroom. He grabs the towel rack and rips it off the wall. Honestly, I shouldn't even be surprised at this point.
No, by no means.
Troy and Keith race in, knives ready. Troy swings his knife at Jeff, who backs away and bangs the towel rack into Troy's face. Troy goes down hard, and now all that's left is Keith. He is more agile than Troy, though, and ducks when Jeff swings the towel rack. He dropped the knife and grabbed Jeff by the neck. He pushed him into the wall. A thing of bleach
What?
fell down on top of him from the top shelf. A thing of bleach, I repeat.
Bro, this story's going fucking everywhere, dog.
A thing of bleach fell down on top of him from the top shelf. It burnt both of them, and they both started to scream. Jeff wiped his eyes as best as he could. He pulled back the towel rack and swung it straight into Keith's head. As he lay there... Yeah?
I don't think bleach has just like a burning effect immediately.
No, it doesn't.
Actually, it does. It doesn't? Well, it is an irritant.
Yeah.
Like, it would definitely cause some damage.
It's not like acid, it's a base.
Yeah.
So like you're not gonna start, like your skin isn't gonna start bubbling up and you're gonna start smoking. Like it's just gonna, like if it gets in your eyes, it's gonna burn. Yeah. But you would easily just like close your eyes and lean your face forward so that way it drips off your head.
I'm gonna give the author the benefit of the doubt and assume that when they said it burnt both of them, it referred to them both feeling like they were burning.
Yeah, because
instead of it actually burning them.
Because I have like a friend. Okay, it's so really stupid, but I have a friend who drank bleach by accident.
Oh Jesus!
By accident.
By accident. Oh my god.
So they were just like, yeah, I thought it was just like a slight burning. So
you don't understand, officer. I mixed ammonia and bleach by accident.
That's like, oh my god, that reminds me of school. I was talking with a classmate before. And he was like, yeah, dude, with all the piss that's on the locker room floor in the bathroom, you could just pour some bleach in there and just create mustard gas, just gas out the entire
Oh shit.
fucking PE because of how much piss is on the floor.
Oh my god. See, that's why whenever I see that, like, a toilet still has cleaning fluid in, I'm always a little worried, because I'm just worried that pissing in it is gonna fucking kill everyone in the building.
My first thought is, damn, I really feel like dying today, and I immediately just let loose in the toilet bowl. I'm like, you'd be doing me a favor if I die from this.
Bro, imagine if like pools had like a small percentage of bleach. Imagine how many mustard gas incidents would be there.
Do you remember at the bathroom was though? Titan in the boys' locker room back at school?
Yeah, I remember that.
Dude, that shit was nasty. I remember when someone took their shit in the fucking urinal.
It was just...
That shit would not flush anymore. That shit was broke. They had to, and they got like a yellow caution tape and fucking portioned it off because of how fucking bad it was.
I don't remember that. The tape.
Oh, or the time that I walked into the bathroom near one of my classes and this other kid walked in and he just fucking took a swing, just a full-on full-on haymaker to the fucking napkin dispenser and knocked it straight off the wall.
Oh my god.
Because I remember...
He just, for no reason. I was just washing my hands. This other person just walked in, fucking haymaker that shit, picked it up calmly and put it into the sink and then just walked out.
Oh my god.
I was like, hey, what the fuck are you doing?
That reminds me of this fucking post I saw where this guy was like taking a shit and like the shit was halfway out of his ass when two other dudes came into the bathroom and just started beating the shit out of each other. And then like one of the dudes just fucking beats the other dude to death and is just standing there like and then the shit slides out of the guy's ass and into the water and it makes a sound and then the heavy breathing stops.
Like, I'm not sure if you guys remember this, right? But in high school, the boys were doing this, where it was like shit waffles.
Oh,
Do you remember that in high school?
shit waffles?
Do you remember when people were doing shit waffles in high school?
No, I've never heard about that.
Okay, so this is what it is, right? So you take a shit on the floor, right? In like the school's floor, right? And you step on it. And it creates like a waffle shape with your shoe.
Actually doing that?
People did that in our school.
I mean, I've heard of waffle stomping, which is where you take a shit in the shower and then use your foot to mash it down the drain.
Oh, bro, stop. You can't be serious.
What's this wrong with...
I mean, I've never done it, but I've heard of it.
I never even heard any of this. What the...
Bro, our school is weird.
I
Alright?
remember the ass body spray.
Anyway, Jeff has just bashed Keith's head in. Jeff has just bashed Keith's head in with a towel rack that he just fucking ripped off the wall. And now, as he lay there bleeding to death, he let out an ominous smile. "What's so funny?" asked Jeff. Keith pulled out a lighter and switched it on. "What's funny," he said, "is that you're covered in bleach and alcohol." Jeff's eyes widened as Keith threw the lighter at him. As soon as the flame made contact with him, the flames ignited the alcohol in the vodka. While the alcohol burned him, the bleach... Oh my god, the bleach bleached his skin.
What?
Bleak.
Basically, the bleach turned his skin white, which is not something that bleach does.
No, it would irritate your skin
If
turn
anything,
red.
it would turn your skin pink.
It works on your clothes. If you get bleach on your clothes, it'll stay in white.
Yeah, but not on your skin. It'll turn your fucking skin pink because it'll, like, burn off the epidermis.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But then, like, fucking... Not to mention that bleach is... I forget the word, but it doesn't, like, catch on fire.
No.
If anything, bleach would prevent the fire from starting.
I thought, wouldn't it
I'm
create
not sure about
fumes?
the history of that.
What?
Wouldn't it just increase the amount of fumes?
Hang on. Can bleach...
So at most, I
Catch
think it
on.
evaporates with heat.
Can bleach catch fire? Yeah, no, bleach is a non-flammable liquid. Oh, fuck,
yeah,
hang on. Its oxidizing properties can cause fire to burn at higher temperature. Okay, never mind. I'm a fucking idiot.
I don't know, man. Chemistry's weird.
Anyway, keep in mind that while Keith and Randy are both dead, Troy is just unconscious, and yet he will never appear again.
Not that easy.
Fucking... Jeff let out a terrible screech as he caught on fire. He tried to roll out the fire, but it was no use. The alcohol had made him a walking inferno. He ran down the hall, fell down the stairs. He's fucking just setting the entire house on fire in the process. Everyone started screaming as they saw Jeff, now a man on fire, drop to the ground nearly dead.
God.
The last thing Jeff saw was his mother and the other parents trying to extinguish the flame.
Okay.
That's when he passed out.
Okay, I gotta tell you something. I don't know when you said that.
Yeah?
Have you watched Friday the 13th?
Yeah.
You remember the scene of the guy with the wheelchair, how he got murdered, and the wheelchair just backed up into the camp, into the lake?
Yeah.
For some reason.
My favorite was in Jason Takes Manhattan when he fights the black guy on the rooftop.
Yeah.
And, like, the guy is like swinging at him, and fun fact, the actor playing Jason actually told the guy to hit him as hard as he could. So this guy was fucking giving it his all, and Jason just fucking punches his head off.
I've never watched the movie, so I don't know. I'm not a huge horror movie fan.
That's fair. Anyway, when Jeff woke, he had a cast wrapped around his face. He couldn't see anything, but he felt a cast on his shoulder and stitches all over his body. He tried to stand up, but he realized there was some tube in his arm, and when he tried to get up, it fell out and a nurse rushed in. Tube must not have been in there very well if it just fucking fell out as he was getting up.
True.
I don't think you can... Oh, fuck, I forgot we're in Jersey. I don't think you can get out of bed just yet, she said as she put him back in his bed and reinserted the tube. Jeff sat there with no vision, no idea what his surroundings were. Finally, after hours, he heard his mother. "Honey, are you okay?" she asked. Jeff couldn't answer, though. His face was covered and he was unable to speak. "Oh, honey, I have great news. After all the witnesses told the police that Randy confessed to trying to attack you, they decided to let Lou go." Like, how did anyone hear that? They were in the house when Randy confessed. They were the only people in the house.
Hold on. Even worse, they're telling that they didn't bother to just confirm this beforehand. They just put him in juvie without him checking.
Oh, not to mention the fact that Jeff fucking killed 2 of them, so now he has committed an actual crime. Although I guess you could say that it was self-defense, but still, it's murky.
This is like inconsistent as hell.
Yeah. After all the witnesses told the police that Randy confessed of trying to attack you, they decided to let Lou go. This made Jeff almost bolt up, stopping halfway, remembering the tube coming out of his arm. He'll be out by tomorrow, and then you 2 will be able to be together again. Jeff's mother hugs Jeff and says her goodbyes. The next couple of weeks were those where Jeff was visited by his family. Then came the day where his bandages were to be removed. His family were all there to see it, what he would look like. As the doctors unwrapped the bandages from Jeff's face, everyone was on the edge of their seats. They waited until the last bandage holding the cover over his face was almost removed. Okay. You guys ready for this?
Sorry, I just had to grab something real quick.
Shiro, what about you?
Sorry about that.
Shiro?
I'm fucking ready. Let's go.
Yo.
I'm terrified.
Sure he can still hear us?
Hold on. Wait, I'm gonna send him something.
Okay.
I think Jeff got him.
Okay. Yeah, Shiro, you ready for this?
Hold on, I have to post this chat.
Okay. Let's hope for the...
Wait. I have something to post to the chat.
Oh, I'm fucking... Let me look at this.
Let
me look at what you just sent.
That's for you.
Oh, what little salty just sent.
What the fuck is this?
Oh yeah, isn't that the guy with the loose socks?
Oh.
He was dogging it.
Oh.
That's like the person who eats Kit Kat like a chocolate bar.
Oh.
Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah, that's the one with his dogs out in the middle of the street.
Oh, we are all ready.
I found another video, I'll send it to you guys after, it's a YouTube video. It's about this guy who like grabs the fucking hornet nest by his hand, starts singing his own theme song, and then chews on it and spits it out.
Oh my god, I've seen that one.
A live hornet nest. This man is a patriot. A true American.
Oh, I've seen that one.
Oh?
Anyway, you guys ready?
No.
Let's hope for the best, said the doctor. He quickly pulls the cloth, letting the rest fall from Jeff's face. Jeff's mother screams at the sight of his face. Lou and Jeff's dad stare awestruck at his face. By the way, I feel like I should mention, neither of Jeff's parents have been named at this point. The only adult who's actually gotten a name is Barbara, the neighbor. Anyway, Lou and Jeff's dad stare awestruck at his face. What happened to my face? Jeff said. He rushed out of bed and ran to the bathroom. He looked in the mirror and saw the cause of the distress. His face. It's horrible. his lips were burnt to a deep shade of red. His face was turned into a pure white color, and his hair singed from brown to black. Like, I don't have to explain why this doesn't make any sense, right?
I don't think so, no. I mean, I would like you to explain anyways, but I think we all can
yeah. Fucking, first of all, we've already covered that bleach isn't going to turn someone's skin white. Not to mention the fact that his lips are burnt to a deep shade of red. Admittedly, I'm a little murky on that one, but I don't think that's how that works. And then his hair... What?
It shouldn't turn his lips red, not the color that you're thinking of, no.
Yeah, no, it should turn them black, right?
No, they'd be irritated, but they wouldn't change to like a specific color like that.
Okay, and then his hair is singed from brown to black. The fire wouldn't change. Fire is not hair dye. It would have burned all of his hair off, or at least most of his hair off, and the hair that's still there would have still been brown.
Yeah. Like if he wouldn't just change colors, he'd lose his entire face.
You know what makes more sense, though?
I remember reading a remake of Jeff the Killer
What if he was
where
just clinically
instead of
insane
being
where he's,
burned
like,
alive,
mutilating
Jeff
himself?
is instead like trapped underground during a cave-in, and so as a result of the lack of sunlight, after only a couple of weeks, his skin is pale and his hair has gone from brown to black due to the lack of sunlight.
Even the Joker gets sympathy.
Yeah, that's not how sunlight works.
Yeah. Anyway, that would work, but again, these people have such a sick fascination with serial killers that they have to make him sympathetic in some way, shape, or form. Even though his fucking Joker face could easily be explained away as just makeup.
Yeah.
He slowly put his hand to his face. It had a sort of leathery feel to it now. He looked back at his family, then back at the mirror. Jeff, said Lou, it's not that bad. Not that bad, said Jeff. It's perfect. His family were equally surprised. His family were equally surprised. Jeff started laughing uncontrollably. His parents noticed that his left eye and hand were twitching. So now Jeff has his first Joker laugh. Oh, Jeff, are you okay? Okay, I've never felt more happy. Ha 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 ha, look at me, this face goes perfectly with me. He couldn't stop laughing. He stroked his face, feeling it. Okay, so now Jeff is fucking stroking himself in the mirror. Looking at it in the mirror, what caused this? Well, you may recall that when Jeff was fighting Randy, something in his mind, his sanity snapped. Okay, fucking... You may recall, so now they're just fucking breaking the fourth wall. I don't fucking know.
And not
something...
in a fun way, not in a fun Deadpool way, just like the shitty, like, hey, we're breaking the fourth wall, we're cool and hip. Like,
it's not in the Deadpool way, it's in the She-Hulk way.
Yes, exactly.
Something in his mind, his sanity snapped. Now he was left as a crazy killing machine that is his parents didn't know. So now it's fucking telling instead of showing. Fucking doctor, said Jeff's mom. Is my son alright, you know, in the head? Oh yeah. Oh yes, this behavior is typical for patients that have taken very large amounts of painkillers. No, it isn't. If his behavior doesn't change in a few weeks, bring him back here and we'll give him a psychological test. Oh, thank you, doctor. Jeff's mother went over to Jeff. Jeff, sweetie, it's time to go. Jeff looks away from him in the mirror, his face still formed into a crazy smile. Okay, mommy, ha ha ha. Oh, Jesus. His mother took him by the shoulder and took him to get his clothes. This is what came in, said the lady at the desk. Jeff's mom looked down to see the black dress pants and white hoodie her son wore. Now they were clean of blood and now stitched together. He was set on fire.
I could have written a better serial killer backstory in like 5 minutes.
Oh my god. You know, Jeff the Killer, this is actually...
The person who wrote this has zero common sense. You don't even need... Like, I wrote a horror story for the first time, right? You don't even need writing chops for it. You need to have common sense. Like, a good horror story is one that is as close to real life as possible. Because, honestly, the real world is scarier than anything you could come up with in your head. Like, I heard fucked up stories that is, like, actually real.
This, fun fact, even though this is usually called the original Jeff the Killer story, this isn't actually Jeff the Killer's first backstory.
Really?
Yeah. Jeff the Killer originated... Jeff the Killer originated in a post. I believe it was on Something Awful. But basically, it was a user who was telling the story behind the Jeff the Killer image, the infamous image of Jeff the Killer smiling, right? And he said that Jeff the Killer got his signature look when he was hauling a tub of acid into his bathroom to clean his bathtub. And then he slipped on a bar of soap and spilled acid on his face, which somehow turned his skin white, turned his lips red, and turned his hair black, and also burned off his eyelids.
You can't be serious.
I am dead fucking serious.
Bro! Oh my god, dog.
Although, Jeff the Killer is constantly called a ripoff of the Joker, and he even ripped off multiple choice backstory. Jeff's mother led him to his room and made him put his clothes on. Then they left, not knowing that this was the final day of life. Again, show don't tell. Later that night, Jeff's mother woke to a sound coming from the bathroom. It sounded as if someone was crying. She slowly walked over to see what it was. When she looked into the...
show don't tell part? Hold on, the show don't tell? That was like the biggest thing that my writing teacher told us. He's like, you always show, you don't tell. Like, that is the number one.
Exactly.
No matter how good you are at writing, how bad you are, like, your number one goal should always be to show, not tell. That is like the number one thing to practice.
Yeah.
See shit, plot lines and everything, right? But
Yeah.
if you do like at least a halfway decent job of keeping things in the show, don't tell range, then your story is going to be like infinitely better than like 90% of people who are writing for the first time.
When she looked into the bathroom, she saw a horrendous sight. Jeff had taken a knife and carved a smile into his cheeks. Why so serious? Jeff, what are you doing? Asked his mother. Jeff looked over to his mother. I couldn't keep smiling, Mummy. It hurt after a while. Now I can smile forever. Oh my god, there's no end quote. Fucking, now I can smile forever. Jeff's mother noticed his eyes ringed in black. Jeff, your eyes. His eyes were seemingly never closing. I couldn't see my face. I got tired. I started to close. I burnt out my forever see myself, my new face.
God, this is like...
Son was going insane. What's wrong, Mummy? Aren't I beautiful? Yes, son, she said. Yes, you are. Well, let me go get Daddy so he can see your new face. From his sleep. Honey, get the gun! Wait! She stopped as soon as she saw Jeff in the doorway holding a knife. Mummy, you lied. That's the last thing they hear as Jeff rushes them with the knife, gutting both of them. His brother Lou woke up, startled by some noise. He didn't hear anything else, so he just shut his eyes and tried to go back to sleep. As he was on the border of slumber, he got the strangest feeling that someone was watching him. He looked up before Jeff's hand covered his mouth. He slowly raised the knife, ready to plunge it into Lou. Lou thrashed here and there, trying to escape Jeff's grip. Jeff said, "Just go to sleep." And that's the end of the story.
Wow! So well written. I'm happy we somehow read
Also,
this.
the top comment on this story is, "Whoa, diarrhea."
I want to see that guy write a story.
What?
I want to see that guy write a story.
Yeah, but yeah, this story fucking.
I have an idea too. We can do immediate next time.
A what?
We can do like media. Like we'll pick stuff that we want to share and talk about.
Yeah.
We could do it funny if we wanted to, but we could also do serious too. Like we could pick some kind of issue.
Story has several rewrites, all of which are terrible, but only 2 official rewrites. I was planning on reading both of them tonight, but given how long it took us to get through this one, I think it would be better if I just read the other 2 stories that I have saved.
Okay, I gotta try
which are unrelated to Jeff the Killer.
I'm gonna try this something real quick.
What?
Oh no, my Wi-Fi's acting weird. I'm gonna try this something real quick. Oh, my Wi-Fi's acting a little bit weird.
Yeah, you've got the rope.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you're good now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, thank you. Okay. It should be good now. Sorry about that.
Okay, and then...
Shiro?
Yeah?
Shiro?
Hmm?
What were you saying? We couldn't hear you because you're the robot voice.
Oh, my Wi-Fi's good. My Wi-Fi was acting weird a little bit.
No, because you were saying something beforehand, but you had a robot voice.
No. What he posted in chat.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Oh, nice. To those who are watching at home, Ainz just posted a GIF of Jeff the Killer dancing.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so our next story is probably one you might have heard of. It's called Sonic.exe.
I was actually expecting this.
Yes!
Yeah! Okay.
Sonic in a jar!
Okay. See ya, Salty.
So yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
see ya, Salty.
See you, Salty.
Yo, Titan.
Okay.
Sonic in a jar. Sonic in a jar.
Oh no! Why? Okay. Let's start the story. I'm a total Sonic the Hedgehog fan, much like everyone else. I like the newer games, but I don't mind playing the classics.
Alright, okay, let's start right
That is
here.
our very first line to this story. Remember, you're supposed to start a story with a hook, and as far as hooks go, this is pretty bad, not gonna lie.
No, let's be honest. We all just fake because no Sonic fan likes new games.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
This is already fiction. We already know it's fake.
Yeah. Also, the author of the original Sonic.exe is a bit of a lol cow, because he infamously did not like that people didn't like his story. Like, he wrote an entire fucking unhinged rant about how he needs to, like, mobilize his forces against the Sonic.exe haters.
His forces?
What?
His forces?
Yes.
He has like, his own fucking private militia.
Like, Sonic fans, we need to rise up.
Oh, can you imagine? It's like these like people in like military garb, but it's like all Sonic themed.
Sonic team.
Instead of guns, it's just laptops and keyboards.
Anyway, I don't think I've ever played glitchy or hacked games before, though I don't think I want to play any after the experience I had. It started on a nice summer afternoon. I was playing Sonic Unleashed. I liked how you get to explore the towns in it, until I noticed, out of my peripheral vision, that the mailman had arrived and put something in my mailbox as usual and left. I paused my game to go see what I got in the mail. The only thing in the mailbox was a CD case for computers and a note. I took it inside. I looked at the note first and realized that it was from my dear friend Kyle, let's just call him that, whom I hadn't heard from in 2 weeks. I know that because I recognized his handwriting, though what was weird is how it looked. It looked badly written and scratchy and somewhat difficult to read, as if Kyle was having a hard time writing it down and did it in a hurry. This is what he wrote. Tom, I can't take it anymore. I had to get rid of this thing somehow before it was too late, and I was hoping you'd do it for me. I can't do it. He's after me, and if you don't destroy this CD, he'll come after you too. He's too fast for me. Please, Tom, destroy this godforsaken disc before he comes after you too. It's too late for me. Destroy the disc and you'll destroy him, but do it quick, otherwise he'll catch you. Don't even play the game. It's what he wants. Just destroy it. Please. Kyle. And also, yes, the human protagonist of this Sonic story is named Tom. Now, I'm not saying the Sonic the Hedgehog movie ripped off Sonic.exe, but I am heavily implying it.
Joke's on you. Well, he's running away from realistic Sonic.
Well, that was certainly weird. Even though Kyle is my best friend and I haven't seen him in 2 weeks, I didn't do what he asked me. Fucking Salty would have a fucking field day with this story.
I like... Oh, the one person this guy trusts. He's like, my sparing moments of life. The last few seconds I have. I gotta write this letter down. And send this to my friend. My deepest friend.
I don't know how long it took him to send this. He had to fucking go to the post office, get a fucking envelope or something. All while this fucking demonic Sonic plushie is hunting him down. Spoiler alert, by the way.
And here's the saddest part.
I didn't think that a simple... Yeah?
All that effort for his friend to go, man, I haven't heard about from this guy in so long. Why do you play this?
Yeah.
Look, bro, let's think about this, right? If any of us sent a letter like that, first thing we would say is like, oh fuck, why? And then we would do it.
Yeah.
Right?
I didn't think that a simple gaming disc would do anything bad to him. After all, it's just a game, right? Boy, was I wrong about that. Okay, look, maybe I'm just paranoid or something, but if I received a letter in the mail with a disc saying to destroy it before he comes after me, I'm going to immediately assume that I'm in a horror movie and I'm going to destroy that disc as quickly as possible.
Yeah, like, just like, you know the saying, curiosity killed the cat, right? So
Exactly. Although, fun fact, the full saying is actually curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there are actually a lot of sayings that were basically cut in half.
Oh yeah, like the jack of all trades is also cut up in half.
Yeah. But jack of all trades, but master of none. Anyway, I looked at the disc and it looks like any ordinary computer CDR disc, except it had black marker on it written Sonic.exe, and it was much unlike Kyle's handwriting, meaning that he must have gotten it from someone else, like a pawn shop or eBay. When I saw Sonic on the writing of the CD, I was actually excited and wanted to play it, since I'm a big Sonic fan. Jesus.
Sure, like Sonic.
I went into my room.
I'm a real
I went into my
Sonic.
room and turned on my computer and put the disc in and installed the game.
He's in my jar.
When the title screen popped up, I noticed that it was the first Sonic game. I was like, awesome, because like I said earlier, I liked the classics. The first thing I noticed that was out of place was when I pressed start, theirs was a split second when I saw the title image turned into something much different, something that I now consider horrifying, before cutting to black. I remember what the image looked like in that split second before the game cut to black, because my mind moved so quickly that I was able to memorize every minute detail in a fraction of a second. The sky had darkened, the title emblem was rusted and ruined, the Sega 1991 was now instead Sega 666, and the water had turned red, like blood, except it looked hyper-realistic. Fucking, that's always a treat, right? Hyper-realistic. Don't you just love it when they throw that word in?
Yep.
Yeah. And it's the first one, right? It should be pixelated, so like...
Yeah. But the freakiest thing that was in that split-second frame was Sonic. His eyes were pitch black and bleeding, with 2 glowing red dots staring right at me, and his smile had stretched wider up to the edge of his face. I was rather disturbed about that image when I saw it, though. I figured that it was just a glitch, and forgot about it. Of course you did, you fucking NPC. After it cut to black, it stayed like that. And for about 10 seconds or so, by the way. He's gonna get like really specific with like time frames. So, yeah. And then another weird thing happened. The save file select from Sonic the Hedgehog 3 popped up, and I was like, WTF? What's this doing in the first Sonic game? Anyway, then I noticed something off. The background was the dark, cloudy sky of the Bad Stardust Speedway level from Sonic CD, and there were only 3 save files. The music was that creepy Caverns of Winter music from Earthbound. You couldn't even pick a creepy track from one of the Sonic games.
Nope. You know, it's a little more known fact. Sonic EXE really loves Earthbound.
Only it was extended and seemed to have been in reverse. How the fuck did he know what song it was then? And the image for the save file where you see a preview of the level you're on is just red static for all 3 files. What freaked me out more was the character select. It showed only Tails, Knuckles, and to my surprise, Dr. Robotnik. Now I was sure that something was up. I mean, how can you play as Robotnik in a classic Sonic game, for crying out loud? Yeah, seeing Dr. Robotnik in the character select screen, that was when I knew that something was wrong.
Not the hyper-realistic blood on an 8-bit game. Not the fucking horror that you see.
Earthbound music in a Sega game.
In reverse. In reverse music of Earthbound. No. Because you can play as a fat piece of shit who turns animals into robots.
That's when I realized that this wasn't a glitchy game, it was a hacked game.
Oh god.
No shit, genius. Yeah, it definitely looked hacked. It was really creepy, but as a smart gamer, I wasn't scared, or at least I tried not to be. AKA, I was shitting myself in fear the whole time.
You know what's this one thing I keep thinking of, Titan?
Yeah.
You know that meme where like, the dog's in like a house of fire, and he's like, everything's alright.
Yeah, this is fine.
This is fine. This is what I'm getting from the vibes of this.
Yeah. I told myself that it was just a hacked game, and there's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, shaking off the creeped out feeling, I picked File 1 and chose Tails, and when I selected and got started, the game froze for about 5 seconds, and I heard a creepy pixelated laugh that sounded an awful lot like that Kepka guy from Final Fantasy, before cutting to black.
Wow.
The screen stayed black for about 10 seconds or more, then it showed the typical level title thing, except the simplistic shapes were different shades of red, and the text showed only Hill, Act 1. The screen faded in and the level title vanished, revealing Tails in the Green Hill Zone from Sonic 1. The music was different though. It sounded like a peaceful melody in reverse. Anyway, I started playing and had Tails start running like you would in any of the classic Sonic games. What was odd was that as Tails was running along the level, there was nothing but flat ground and a few trees for 5 minutes. That was when the peaceful music started to lower down into slow, deep tones very slowly as I kept going. I suddenly saw something and I stopped to see what it was. It was one of the small animals lying dead on the ground bleeding. That was when the music started to slow down. Tails had a shocked and saddened look on his face that I never saw him have before, so I had him move along and he kept that worried look on his face. As he kept moving, I saw more dead animals as Tails moved past them, looking more and more worried as the music lowers and he moves past more dead animals. I was shocked to see how they all die. They looked like someone had killed them in rather gruesome ways. A squirrel was hanged on a tree with what appeared to be his entrails hanging out. Also, I am genuinely surprised that this guy included the grammatically correct form of hanged, because if you hang someone, like from a noose, it's hanged, not hung. Yeah, so I am genuinely impressed that this person got that specific grammatical detail right.
Yeah.
But everything else.
A bunny had all 4 of his limbs torn off, and a duck had his eyes gouged out and his throat slit. I felt sick to my stomach when I saw this massacre, and apparently so did Tails. After a few more seconds, there were no more animals, and the music seemed to have stopped. I still kept Tails to continue. Jeez, this is just fucking going on and on. You know what? There is... I saved... not the worst in a sense of quality, but just the fucking weirdest story for last. Since this video is already getting pretty long, you want me to just skip to that one?
Can you skim, can you shorten, what happened at the end?
Okay, basically, the game is actually haunted by a demon who looks like a bloody version of Sonic, and then a Sonic plushie appears in Tom's room.
And then what?
That was it. That's where it ends.
What the fuck's
And it says, "Try to keep this interesting for me, Tom." I turned around to see where the voice came from, and what I saw made me scream. Sitting on my bed, staring right at me, was a Sonic plushie, smiling with bloodstains under its eyes.
Bro, it's gonna fuck
And
him.
then, here is the author's response after the pasta was deleted. I deeply regret to inform you all that I received some bad news. The admins of the Creepypasta Wiki have finally decided to delete Sonic.exe off of the wiki on the grounds that it was badly written and had too many cliches and was a bad example of what should be a creepypasta.
You know it's bad is when the creepypasta community's like, nah, this is too bad for us.
This is too bad.
You know it's bad when the creepypasta gang is like, nah, fam.
Yeah. Anyway, he says, bull friggin' horse shit. As you can see, I am furious with the fact that my masterpiece, which has won the hearts of millions and has made a massive impact on the internet, is being brought down by a bunch of jealous, arrogant, retarded furry haters. Oh, by the way, the author is JC the Hyena, and he's a furry.
Oh, wow.
He's also a pedophile.
Wait, what?
Oh, really?
But that does not mean I am just going to sit down and take this lightly. No.
Skip over that fact.
Oh yeah, he got exposed for being a pedophile through like Twitter DMs or something. I think so. I think so. I might be thinking of someone else. Fucking don't quote me on this. God damn it.
You're like, he was a pedo. You just skip over it.
It was either that or he cheated on his girlfriend. One of the two.
By the way, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, they're totally the same thing. Oh, yeah, definitely.
They have been messing with the bull, and now they've called out the horns. Listen, everyone, I need your help with this. We are at war here. I want every Sonic.exe fan who is reading this to get the word out. I want you to tell every other Sonic.exe fan out there, every fanatic, every artist, every follower of my creation about this. Tell your friends who are also Sonic.exe fans if they have to. Tell them we have to keep the spirit of Sonic.exe alive. Make more fan art, make more videos, block the haters, praise Sonic.exe like you never have before. Build websites dedicated to his greatness. Whatever you gotta do to keep him alive and strong, just do it. The deletion of Sonic.exe from the wiki is but a minor cut on our flower of greatness, my friends. And that cut has done nothing but further the spreading, and we are the pollen of this flower. We need to prepare for our victory over the haters. The haters need to bleed for their crimes. Rejoice, my fellow Sonic.exe fans. Our glorious little hellspawn shall have the laugh yet. This will be his ultimate victory, the absolute subjugation of the internet itself.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You have to be trolling. You can't be serious. Oh my god.
Honestly, I can't even tell at this point.
Yeah.
So before we get into the next story, I just gotta move my phone charger over here because my phone's about to die.
Okay. Oh yeah.
So
I'll be right back. I also have to go to the restroom.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
So, Titan, you're telling me this is the creator of Sonic.exe?
Yes. Yes.
So much potential, but it was so thrown away.
Yeah, like there is potential in the idea of like a Sonic cartridge possessed by a demon that looks like Sonic.
Right? And it's like, bro.
Yeah. Every creepypasta has like some kind of potential because it does start out as like some kind of halfway decent idea.
And definitely, like people make games on it too, and it was pretty popular, the games. Or the mods.
Yeah, like fucking... You could say it about every creepypasta, like Jet the Killer. It's the idea of a fucking, like, regular dude who just has one bad day and becomes a serial killer. That has the potential to be a good story.
I mean, look at the day with Joker. One bad day really messed him up.
Yeah. The only one that I think started out somewhat respectable and then only became bad through its, like, through the fans was Slender Man.
Yo, that's what I was gonna say too.
Yeah, because Slender Man was actually fucking scary, you know? He was this just mysterious, faceless entity. No one knew who he was or what he wanted. He just appeared, you know? He just was.
And it's like...
And then fucking the teenage goth girls fucking started stabbing people in order to please him, and everyone was imagining him as this fucking, like, father figure to other creepypastas who runs a mansion in the woods where the other creepypastas live. Yeah.
Can you imagine like a reality TV show just on that?
Oh my god. You know, I once read a fanfic. I think it might have been deleted, but I once read a fanfic called Living with the Creepypastas.
Oh god.
And it's basically it's a second person fic, which means you are the protagonist. And so the protagonist is literally the protagonist is a woman, and yet her name is your name. Literally, it's always written as Y/N.
Wow. I mean, I know it's supposed to like a filler, but why can't you just make the character gender neutral?
Yeah. Anyway, but basically, your name is basically through a series of events ends up living at the creepypasta mansion.
Bullshit. We know that'll
and
be torn.
becoming friends with fucking what?
Bullshit. We all know that will be torn to pieces.
Exactly. But no, she ends up becoming friends with fucking Slender Man and Jet the Killer and Isla's Jack and Tiki Toby and the other ones. I don't fucking remember all the other ones, but they don't kill people. They just have these fucking like misadventures, like a talent show and a sleepover, and then at one point the mansion just gets attacked by like the creepypasta hunter, and I'm like, finally something interesting happens.
Hola, I'm back.
Hola.
Yo.
¿Cómo estás?
Okay. So, you guys ready for this last story?
Así.
Okay. It's called The Gym Teacher, written by Humboldt Lycanthrope.
Oh god, he's from California. Oh god.
And okay, so this story is by far the best out of the three in terms of overall quality, but I had to save it for last because it's just the fucking weirdest.
Yo. Weirder than Sonic?
You guys ready? Weirder than Sonic, yeah. It's so weird that it's not one of the mainstream creepypastas.
Oh.
Yeah, we don't. I've heard of this one before.
Yeah. I discovered this one in high school. And it has just been living rent-free in my head ever since. Alright. You guys ready?
I am ready. Is Ainz ready?
My body. Yes.
Okay. Danny Thompson had always hated gym class, but more than anything, he hated his gym teacher, Mr. Kirby. All that Danny wanted to do was get home to his computer, fucking Are you sure you're ready for this?
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah.
All that Danny wanted to do was get home to his computer so that he could look at the live streaming video of the corpse he had found in the woods.
What?
Wait.
Instead, he was being forced to run the mile.
Wait, you're telling me he found a dead body? Was like, yo, let's Twitch this on stream. Yo, chat.
No, he's not streaming it on Twitch. He is just streaming it. He set up a camera and he is just streaming it to his computer just for him to watch.
I
You
think
told him. What?
don't leave him alone in that room with
Yeah.
a bottle of lotion. Don't leave them
Oh my
alone.
God, we're gonna get into that later.
Oh my god.
It was an unseasonably hot October day, the mercury stretching up over the 80s and into 90, and Mr. Kirby had decided to finish his 11 o'clock class by having the boys run the mile. Now, at 11:45, all the others were finished, just milling around waiting for Danny. Danny struggled around the track, his sneakers beating against the hot asphalt, his thighs burned, chafed from the coarse texture of the gym shorts that were too big for him and always threatening to fall down. Sweat stung his eyes and lacquered his nose so that his glasses slid down his face. The air felt like fire in his lungs as he panted and fought for breath, yet he smiled, for in his mind all he could see... Oh my god, okay. Yet he smiled, for in his mind all he could see was that beautiful blonde girl lying there dead in the duff of the redwood forest.
Oh god.
It gets worse.
Oh god.
The curve of her hips, and but did I mention that this video is going to be fucking not safe for work or safe for life?
No.
The curve of her hips and the tilt of her breasts, that black mound of hair and the triangular space where her legs met. Which, by the way, if she's blonde and yet she has black pubic hair, the blonde hair is definitely a dye job. Pale, cerulean blue, and perfect in every way, besides her torn out throat and missing arm.
Wow.
Wow. He found his type.
Okay. What accent should I do for Mr. Kirby, the gym coach?
Oh my goodness.
Mm,
Okay, Ainz, you give the idea. You get the idea.
what, me?
Yeah.
I don't know. The same accent our gym teacher had in high school, if you remember.
Oh, was it the man or the woman?
Either one, I don't really care.
I can't remember. I'll just give him the generic tough guy voice. Hustle, hustle, and hold your head up when you run. Mr. Kirby shouted at Danny as he came loping around the bend, pushing his glasses back up his nose. Put some hustle into it, Mr. Kirby barked, clapping his baseball mitt-sized hands together before lifting that awful whistle to his thick lips and giving 3 curt, shrill shrieks that never failed to make Danny shudder. Okay, so now it's canon. Mr. Kirby has gorilla hands and dick-sucking lips. Mr. Kirby was a massive man with arms like tree trunks and a giant head that he kept shaved, bald, and gleaming. That huge head of his sat atop his shoulders like an unsteady boulder atop a mountain, and he had the strange habit of snarling, his upper lip rising contemptuously up in an animal-like sneer even when he was smiling, and he enunciated his speech with a fierce growl. Put a little effort into it, Thompson, always referring to Danny by his last name as if this were the military and he was a drill sergeant, the words ringing out with the menace of a guard dog's bark. Just keep in mind that he's consistently comparing Mr. Kirby to a dog.
What? Okay.
Danny just glared silently back at him. To Danny, Mr. Kirby was just another in a long line of bullies that had taunted him his whole life. Danny had always been smaller than the other boys his age, and myopic, having to endure the wearing of thick glasses as well as the taunts that ensued from them. 4 eyes, bug eyes, Bubbles, Orb Boy. I don't know how he got the nickname Bubbles.
Prison.
From the 3rd grade onward, to make matters worse, his fierce intelligence, IQ 165, had caused him to skip the 7th grade and go right into the 8th grade from 6th. so that now, in his sophomore year, he was not only much smaller than all the rest, he was also much slower and less coordinated, a trait his gym teacher, Mr. Kirby, never let him forget.
Titan.
Come on. What?
Titan, once you mentioned IQ,
Yeah?
I just cringed inside. It's like those people who are like, bro, I watched Rick and Morty, bro. I got like an IQ of like 200, man.
Worse, this kid fucking acts like one of those people who constantly says that his IQ is 165.
Fucking, I hate those people.
Come on, move it, Thompson. At least finish, for God's sake. Danny finally stumbled over the marker, hunched and exhausted, pretending not to notice the way the other boys were looking at him, as if he was some kind of pathetic cripple or invalid to be pitied and secretly mocked. All right, hit the showers, everybody, Mr. Kirby bellowed out with that weird sneer that exposed the canines on the left side of his mouth, slapping his hands together loudly before placing them firmly and formidably on his hips with his elbows jutted out. The boys tooling about the track started hooting and hollering and making their way to the locker room. Danny followed, trailing behind them, head down, studying his feet as they shuffled him down the wall to his locker. He sat sullenly on the concrete bench and silently slipped out of his gym clothes and into his black jeans and white button-up shirt, ignoring the other boys who sauntered to the showers with towels tied about their waists, laughing and wisecracking with each other. Danny never took a shower after gym class. The idea of being exposed there before the others, wet, naked, and vulnerable, filled him with dread and anxiety. Okay. So, you remember how I said the author's name was Humboldt Lycanthrope?
Yes.
Yeah.
Danny had moved down to California from Oregon a little over a year ago, when his mother had left his father after a particularly loud and nasty fight. Yeah, so this does canonically take place in California.
Oh god.
Oh man.
Oh god.
Always California.
What?
It's always California, just like the beer story.
Oh my god. Pajama beer. Hopefully the Pajama Beer video comes out before this one, or else people are going to be very confused by that reference.
Hopefully.
Oh, yeah. Make sure to watch that video right now.
That's if it's out.
No, you
Anyway,
I don't care. Just go watch it.
the neighbors had called the cops, and Danny had watched as in the swirl of the red and blue spinning lights the police had led his father away in handcuffs. In the morning, his mother had packed up the old Buick station wagon and taken Danny and his 6-year-old sister down to California, to the little college town of Arcata for a new start, getting the hell out of Oregon before Danny's father had the chance to make bail and talk her out of it. And it was a new start. Everything was new, though not necessarily for the better, in Danny's opinion. Alright, you ready for this next part?
Yes.
Yeah.
His mother had become some kind of new age hippie. Now, instead of the jeans and sweatshirt she had worn daily up in Bend, blending with all the other redneck moms, she wore long flowing dresses with floral prints, an anklet of bells, an amethyst necklace, and there were crystals and scented candles everywhere. She got a job at the big co-op health food store and started taking classes on herbalism. You ready for the pièce de résistance?
Oui.
Worse yet, she had taken on a hefty lesbian lover named Gail who behaved exactly like her in every regard.
Merde.
Wait.
Yes, now not only is Danny a fucking creep, he's also homophobic. There was the new school, Arcata High. The kids here were hipsters, not like the rednecks Danny was used to. They listened to strange music he was unfamiliar with, dubstep and crust punk, and he felt as alienated from them as he did from the hicks he had despised back in Bend for being ignorant backwoods morons. Most of the time, Danny's presence in his new school was an invisible one. Hang on. He easily passed all his classes without even trying, and any subject that interested him at all he was sure to receive an A in, but he could be moody and surly with his teachers, disdainful in arguing some obscure point with them, one that he was inevitably always right about. And more often than not, he would irritate them to the point where they just barely passed him with a C. Most were content to just leave him alone to brood and stare off into space. But gym class was different. It was the one place where he did not easily excel, the one place where he was called out again and again in front of his peers, when Mr. Kirby would harshly tell him to put some hustle into it, or follow through with his swing, nodding his plump eyeballs, peering out from his big bald head in search of students who agreed, jocks who concurred. Danny would feel like some nocturnal insect exposed to the light of day. The rock that hit him suddenly lifted off so that he was left squirming in the bright sunlight, a writhing, ugly creature trying to scamper off into the darkness and seclusion where he felt safe. The first time he had read Metamorphosis, he had known exactly what Kafka was talking about, because of course he fucking did. When Gregor Samsa woke up one morning from unsettling dreams, he found himself changed into a monstrous vermin. Danny was very familiar with the sensation. It was silent study, and Danny was in the library reading Philip Carlo's The Night Stalker for the 4th time. A streetcar named Desire was going to be the school play that year, and a group of girls near him prattled on about the girl who had gotten the lead role of Stella. Fuck. Can you believe Credence got the lead? The one loudly chewing gum and twisting a lock of hair around her finger whispered conspiratorially. She was like so ugly all her life. I mean, just a year ago, she was the ugliest girl in school. A dog, an utter dog, a clown dog no less, and now she gets the lead role? Did you like my impression of gum chewing?
Can I just say, my goodness, you mastered that, like, irritating sound so perfectly. How?
I know, right? Listening to them... What?
Yeah, you got a spot.
Yeah. Listening to them, Danny came under the distinct impression that none of them had ever even read the Tennessee Williams play. And he pushed his glasses up his nose, slammed his book shut with a little too much flourish, got up, and skulked off to a corner seat where he could read in quiet. Oh my god, he's one of those kids.
Yep.
Danny loved the library, the comforting smell of old books, the quiet, the studious manner the place affected, the kindness the gentle old librarians would show when they saw that you truly loved books and were there to read, study, and reflect. He settled happily into a corner seat, surrounded by the long vertical spines of familiar volumes that had become like old friends to him. He looked out at the other students splayed in the wooden chairs and spied a long-haired kid in a faded black Slayer shirt reading the Stephen King book It. Oh, fuck. What accent should I do for, Danny?
Can you do a Maine accent?
A what?
A Maine accent? Since he's reading Stephen King, like,
Maine?
every Stephen King book takes place in Maine.
I don't know a fucking Maine accent. No, he's not. Danny's not the one reading the book.
Oh, shit. Oh, sorry.
Okay, I'll just make up a voice.
Yeah.
What a fool, he thought, reading about an alien clown named Pennywise. That was scary. What Danny was reading was real. Fuck you, Danny. You fucking piece of shit. Oh my god.
Fuck you. You know what? Fuck you, Danny. Alright? Somehow you made the PE teacher, who's usually the most chillest person, hate you. Fuck you. You ruined class for us.
Yeah. Wait, my fucking PE teacher in high school wasn't fucking chill.
Seriously?
No.
Bro, all my PE teachers were chill.
Whatever. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. Here was a real monster, someone who, under the cover of the night's darkness, watched you through your window as you slept, then crept silently into your home while you were blissfully lost in some dream. Or doubting it, it was fact. Okay, this next paragraph is a fucking doozy. Danny was obsessed with serial killers. He could tell you the exact number of bodies found in John Wayne Gacy's crawl space, the names of the girls Ted
Sorry about
Danny
that.
was obsessed with serial killers, red flag. He could tell you the exact number of bodies found in John Wayne Gacy's crawl space. The names of the girls Ted Bundy has squirreled away to secret locations for his nocturnal necrophilia. The names of the ones he left for dead where they were, heads smashed open. What he used to fashion into lambs, the various means of torture the hillside stranglers used on their victims, the date of Albert Fish's birth and the date of his execution. He devoured true crime books. The more heinous and grisly, the better. His room was littered with stacks of them, the best like Anne Rule's The Stranger Beside Me and Robert Graysmith's Zodiac. He had read so many times he could quote passages from them verbatim. So what do you guys think? Shiro?
Zero?
No, he says you gotta go do something.
I guess. Do these. But this Danny character is just like...
I really hope he's still recording. I don't want to fucking read that paragraph over again.
Yeah. Oh my god. He's just definitely like the embodiment of like, what's it called? Like that nerd emoji? Like, actually...
Yeah. Actually... I guess we just wait for Shiro to come back online.
Yeah. Maybe he got taken by Sonic.exe.
Oh god. No, fucking Jeff got him.
Jeff. My name's Jeff.
I hope it shows back up soon. It's almost 10 o'clock where I am, and I want to get this story over with.
Oh yeah, it almost where I am.
Oh, sorry. I had to do something.
Okay, are you still recording?
Yes. So I heard you fuckers. I heard everything you said.
Oh shit!
I fucking heard. You think I'm stupid to remove my earphones?
So what did you think of that paragraph, Shiro?
Fucking disgusting.
If you think that paragraph was disgusting, just wait till we get further into the story. It was his grandmother who had sparked his interest in true crime, and her death that had fueled his compulsion, for he had inherited all of her books. Okay, so now he's even got a serial killer backstory. The death of his grandmother, his mother's mother, was a terrible blow. He had been very close to her, to the point where she was almost a second mother to him. His mother would have a fight with his dad and dump him off on his grandmother, or his mother would be making up with his dad and dump him off with his grandmother. Granny Galloway was the one who took him to the mall and bought him clothes to wear, games for his Wii, notebooks and pencils for school. She was the one who fostered his love of reading. It was her copy of In Cold Blood sitting forlornly and dust-covered on her shelf that started his whole true crime passion. When Danny brought the hardcover book with its black paper cover over to his grandmother, who was slouched over an Agatha Christie book in her love seat, her wizened face grew serious and she told him, Truman Capote. Well, this, Danny, is an important piece. It is the first true crime book, but also a work of literature. He nodded thoughtfully, pushed his glasses up his nose, sat down beside his grandmother, and began to read about the minds of ruthless killers. He hadn't stopped since. When his grandmother was laid out, his sister was told she was too young to attend the wake, but Danny was deemed mature enough, and dressed in a somber navy blue suit that was too big for him and drooped over his shoulders, he was taken to the funeral home. His mother led him to a dimly lit back room that smelled of old wood and flowers with a faint whiff of Lysol. It was surreal. People were eating potato salad off of paper plates with plastic forks and laughing like it was a picnic. Older, gray-haired people he didn't recognize kept coming up to him and hugging him and shaking his hand, telling him how much he had grown and how mature he looked. His suit hanging off of him so that he felt like a midget. His uncles, his mother's two older brothers were there, passing a flask back and forth and talking too loudly about old girlfriends and their raucous childhood. When they tried to pass the flask to Danny, his mother scolded them, "Don't you dare," and pulled Danny away. And there, at the front of the hall, on what appeared to Danny to be some kind of tiny stage or altar, was his grandmother, lying serenely in a half-closed coffin, her face and hands bared, but her lower half covered in cold steel. So apparently she's in a fucking metal casket. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. People wandered up to the casket and whispered to her as if she could hear them, and he was surprised by how they would touch and fondle her, squeezing her hand and kissing her cheek, caressing her face and tucking a lock of blue-gray hair behind her ear. His mother pushed him forward towards the casket. "Go on." Oh, fuck. Well, what voice should I give the mother?
Mom, I get the same as Danny. She has like the exact same pitch and tone.
Okay. "Go on," she said. "Say goodbye. Say goodbye to Grandma." In grief, and she dabbed a handkerchief to her eyes. Danny stumbled forward, apprehensive and a little scared. He stepped up to the casket and stared down at his grandmother. She had on too much makeup, and it was smeared and smudged from where mourners had pressed their lips against her and run their fingers over her face, staring down at the lifeless corpse of this woman who had meant so much to him, changed him in some undefinable way he couldn't explain. It was his grandmother whom he had loved and adored, yet it was not her at all, just a shell. He had wanted to touch her as the others did, but he was scared to touch this dead thing before him. He had wanted to cry, as he felt was expected of him. But he found he could do nothing but turn, push his glasses up his nose, and shuffle back to his seat with his head bent down. And then that lonely summer, when with no school and no friends, he lounged about the house reading the trove of true crime books he had salvaged from his grandmother's estate. Oh god, okay. You ready for this next one?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was during that hot, melancholy summer that he discovered the Charlie Manson family and masturbation. Oh. He found that black book with the dripping blood letters in a battered cardboard box his mother hadn't gotten around to taking to the thrift store, lying in bed that night with a flashlight and that musty, dog-eared copy of Helter Skelter that had once belonged to his grandmother. The covers pulled up over his head, he read about the family's acid-fueled sex orgies.
What?
No wonder we learned about masturbation.
It gets worse. Flipping back and forth from photos of those lost hippie girls to descriptions of the fornication and violence, he found his right hand as his left clasped the book in a death grip, slipping down between his legs to stroke himself. In love, there is no wrong, the family preached. Oh god, you think this is painful? I'm the one who has to read this shit.
Your neighbor's gotta hear.
Fucking I hope he does. I want him to think of me as a fucking serial killer. The pale moonlight streaming through his bedroom window to coat his huddled, blanket-covered form in silver. He gazed down at a small black and white photo of the beautiful Ruth Ann Morehouse in overalls with an X carved into her forehead. Moaning quietly, he shuddered and came to climax for the first time. He shut his eyes and lay back against his pillow. Vertiginous visions of wild-eyed and raven-haired Susan Atkins licking the blood off the knife she used to slaughter Sharon Tate, circling round his head, as his hot, wet seed grew cold and stiff against his belly.
Oh god. Why?
That night, he dreamed of hippie girls with X's carved into their heads. They were fucking and sucking and licking and grinning, fucking each other, fucking Danny very hard, and his grandmother was laid out there in her coffin in the center of their massive orgy. You leave grandma out of this, goddammit.
Keep Granny out of this.
Danny didn't know what that meant exactly, and he suspected Oh, fuck. I skipped a paragraph. The day he found the dead girl laying by that corpse of Alder had started out as a bad day. The night before, he had gotten into a wicked fight with his mother, and in the morning she had told him there were going to be severe repercussions. Danny didn't know what that meant exactly, and he suspected, correctly, that she didn't either, but he was worried she would take away some of his internet time. The incident, as Danny's mother called it, had happened at dinner. His mother's partner, Gail, was there, a big woman in what was basically a moo-moo, baking tofu, Danny hated tofu, steaming kale, the only thing Danny hated worse than stop about positive energy vibrations. Now, this kale was grown on a biodynamic farm. I apologize to any black people watching this.
Oh my god.
Which means the seeds were planted on the new moon and it was harvested on the full moon, soaking up the natural vibrations and rhythms of Gaia, our Earth Mother, she said as she laid dishes laden with steaming food before each of them. His mother nodded along with everything Gail said, whispering, "Blessed be," when Gail set her food down in front of her. Danny looked down at his plate with disgust and just ignored her hippie dribble. But what he couldn't ignore was his sister, how she was just eating this perfect new age family bullshit up. Melissa was just so damn happy, like she didn't realize how far from home they were, how alien this house and town were, as if she didn't realize that they would barely ever see their father again, or that their mother had turned into a hippie lesbian. She just sat there with a stupid grin and started talking to Gail about birthday parties, bouncing her head back and forth so that her pigtails jiggled up and down. So Allison is having an ice cream cake and a sleepover. Jenny's mom says a sleepover is too much, but she's going to have a clown and a magician. Of course, I was invited to both parties, but Karen wasn't. Jenny hates Karen. Danny sullenly pushed a hunk of tofu into a muddy puddle of Thai peanut sauce, running it up to the green lump of kale and back, his elbow resting on his table, his chin perched on his fist. When Melissa finally stopped her diatribe on the various birthday parties in the neighborhood, he turned to her. Oh my god, he turned to her, pushed his glasses up his nose, and said, "Well, that's very interesting. What with the ice cream cake and all. However, I was wondering, just how do you and your friends deal with the fact that we are all going to die? Do you have your little parties to just try and ignore it? Some festive occasion to take the impending fate of the grave off your mind? Or has it actually never crossed your little pea-sized brain that one day you'll be dead?"
Oh, he's definitely a Rick and Morty fan.
Danny, his mother shouted, slamming her fork down. "Stop that!" Gail blurted out a quick giggle, then covered her grin with a napkin. "What?" Danny shouted. "It's the truth. Grandma's dead, and the odds are, mathematically, that you're going to die next, Mom." He then turned his head to gaze at his sister, dramatically pushed his glasses up his nose, and squinting his eyes, murmured with a low and quiet voice, "And then you, Melissa." Okay, so now he's threatening his fucking family.
Yes,
Tell me
undoubtedly.
this doesn't sound like he's gonna fucking come home one day, grab a kitchen knife, and kill his mother in her sleep.
Maybe do things worse than that after that.
Oh god. I mean, we already know that he's a necrophile.
Because if he involved Granny, he's gonna keep the bloodline pure.
Oh. Melissa's big eyes filled with tears and her lower lip began to quiver. "Mom, you're not going to die, are you?" Gail calmly plopped a piece of tofu, dripping with sauce into her mouth, and while chewing it loudly, lips smacking, stated, "Well, I see death as just another change, and when the time comes, I will welcome it as part of my soul's journey." Melissa's eyes grew wider and wider, tears brimming until they began to flow down her cheeks. She then let out a terrible wail and shouted, "I don't want to die! I don't want Mommy to die!" Danny's mother threw down her napkin, pushed out her chair, and quickly strode over to the little girl, wrapping her arms around her and pressing her face, a knot of woe, against her belly, slowly rocking her and stroking her hair. "Shh, Mommy's fine. Nothing is gonna happen to Mommy." She shot an angry glance at Danny, hissing, "Look what you've done." "Like I care!" Danny shouted, leaping to his feet and knocking his chair to the ground. "You stupid fucking dyke! You two are disgusting and you make me sick!" "Danny, you apologize right now, this very instant. Where are you going?" But Danny wasn't listening. He was racing up the stairs to his bedroom and slamming the door. He threw himself onto his bed and buried his head in his pillow, weeping like he wished he had done when his grandmother died. Missing Oregon, the little house he had grown up in, the quiet street with all the fir trees. Missing his father, that big burly man with the beard and mop of orange hair who he had hated so very much back then, whom he had feared so very much back then, awakening at night to hear him come home drunk, slamming the door, breaking things, screaming at his mother till invariably there would be that smack and the sound of his mother's weeping. The next day at the end of English class, when the bell rang and everyone rose from their seats and started off for the hall, Danny shuffling behind them with his head down, the English teacher, Mr. Jones, called him sternly over to his desk. "Danny, I need to talk with you for a moment." Danny sighed, pushed his glasses up his nose, and walked laboriously slow up to Mr. Jones's desk, literally dragging his feet along the linoleum. Fucking imagine the fucking squeaking sound that would make.
It'd be awful.
Oh god.
It's like that.
Mr. Jones was a stuffy old man with a pot belly who favored sweater jackets with elbow patches over blazers. He had an unkempt salt and pepper mustache that he was often absent-mindedly stroking, which was what he was doing then as he peered down at a bundle of papers on his desk, barely perceptibly shaking his head back and forth with a worried and perplexed furrow to his brow. He looked up at Danny, lifting the sheaf of papers and pointing them accusingly at him. "What is this?" he asked agitatedly. Danny mumbled back, barely audible, "My English report." The report was supposed to be on Jack London's Call of the Wild. This is a report on the Marquis de Sade's The 120 Days of Sodom, after I specifically told you that book was not even allowed in the school. Oh, God. You guys know who the Marquis de Sade is, right?
I don't. I'm gonna admit it. I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. All you need to know is that he's kind of fucked up and really likes BDSM.
Oh.
In a bad way, you know?
Okay.
Danny shrugged his shoulders. "I couldn't read Call of the Wild. London is a hack. Everyone knows that." "You could have said as much in your report. If you backed it up with strong evidence, it would have made a fine paper. Instead, you went and did exactly what I told you not to do. Just look at this. The metamorphosis of the body through rape and mutilation represents Sade's desire for catharsis and transformation. However, his fixation on anal rape represents the futility of his desire for change, and that no seed will take in the anal cavity, unlike the vagina that represents the possibility of new life. Do you really think this is appropriate in school? You didn't like it?" Ah. Salty would have had a fucking field day with this story.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Jones sighed, used his thumb and forefinger to brush his mustache. "That's not the point, Danny. Look, I'm worried about you. You're so smart, let's face it, you're a genius, but you have no discipline whatsoever, and you are so obsessed with the macabre. Don't you ever even think about your future?" "Yeah, I guess." "You guess? What about college? Have you thought of that? Where are you going to go to college? Who's going to take you in if you don't get your grades up?" Fuck. Danny shrugged again, picked at a spaghetti stain tarnishing the front of his shirt from lunch. "You going to fail me?" Honestly, I don't know what I'm gonna do with you, but I'm gonna have a conference with your mother. I've already had a discussion with Principal Steiner and contacted your mother. We've set a date for next week. Fucking great. What did you just say to me? Nothing. Look, Danny, I'm just gonna pretend I didn't hear that, okay? I'm gonna expect a change in your attitude. Yes, sir. Good. That's more like it. Now go on and get to class before the bell rings. Danny purposely missed the bus after school that day. Not wanting to have to go back home and deal with his mother, he had decided instead to cut through the woods of Redwood Park and spend the rest of the afternoon making his way up over Fickle Hill so that he would come out of the woods on the far upper end of his street and then leisurely stroll down to his house. The trail twisted and turned through the towering redwoods like a tattered brown ribbon laid on the forest floor, dotted with ferns and patches of poison oak, growing crimson from the chilly fall mornings. The caw of ravens echoed in the stillness of the forest. Spotting what looked like a meadow high above an embankment to the north of him, Danny decided to veer off the trail and climb up to the spot. It appeared there was a vantage point up there where he could ascertain his place in the forest, maybe even see the cluster of houses that made up his neighborhood. So he started up through a thicket of huckleberry, clawing his way up the summit, and when he finally reached the top, as he pulled himself over the lip of the ridge, he spied, laying on the edge of a small copse of alder, shimmering in a gleam of amber autumn sunlight, a pallid and milky image, the creamy, naked body of a girl lying perfectly poised like a sleeping princess in a fairy tale. This is basically a flashback to when he first discovered the dead body.
Oh.
He scrambled over the edge, up the incline, and to the top of the promontory, marveling and stunned at what lay before him. She was gorgeous, her waxen hue juxtaposed by the golden gleam of her blonde hair. Everything that had once been rosy and pink on her was now a sallow blue. Her lips, her cheeks, the nipples of her perky breasts. Oh my god. She was stiff with rigor mortis, but not rotten yet. She didn't smell bad at all. She was fresh. A fresh kill. Her neck was thrashed and ripped open so that he could see the blanched joints of her spine behind the ravaged muscle and tendons of her throat, but her face was immaculate. Her right arm was missing, leaving a gory stump. The way it had been torn off, savagely ripped and shredded, not with the surgical precision a scalpel or hacksaw blade would have left. Led him at first to believe perhaps the corpse had been mauled by animals, but no. The way she was positioned, laying there flat on her back with her other arm neatly folded over her belly, legs perfectly straight, she had been placed like this, and no animal had touched her. He glanced around. There was no sign of a struggle here, no blood stains, and no trace of the girl's missing clothing. This was not the scene of the murder. This was a dump site, and if he knew anything about serial killers, he knew one thing. The killer would be back. He didn't just take a beautiful corpse up here to this out-of-the-way place with an incredible view that allowed you to see anyone coming, pose the body just so, and not expect to come back. Oh, he would be back. Of that, Danny was sure. And Danny wanted one thing, to see it, to watch. To watch him come back and see what he did to this gorgeous corpse.
Oh, God. Is it what I'm thinking he's gonna do?
What?
Is it what I think he's gonna do?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, God.
The guy working at the security store was a jerk. Upon entering the store, Danny had marveled at the plethora of interesting merchandise. All around him were gleaming glass cases filled with knives, bear mace, tasers, waterproof bags, and high-tech surveillance gear of all types. Danny wandered up to the counter where a bored-looking salesman, early 20s, fluff of auburn hair and freckles, thumbed through a gamer magazine. "What do you want, kid?" the salesman asked. "Well, I'm going to need a Raptor Wi-Fi network security system with a high-gain Yagi antenna and an Omni mast antenna, but I was wondering, do I have to use the standard bullet camera with this system, or can I substitute a Pilink covert for a Fujicam FI361? The guy behind the counter just stared blankly at him and muttered, "Aren't you supposed to be in school or something?" Danny was supposed to be in school. He was skipping silent study, and he hoped upon hope no one would notice. He didn't have time to play these games. He pushed his glasses up his nose, placed his hands firmly on the counter, and looked the guy in the eyes. "Are the Filink or the Fujicam compatible with the Raptor Wi-Fi system or not?" The salesman yawned, turned a page of his magazine, and asked, "What are you trying to do? Capture Bigfoot?" "Something like that. Now, are they compatible or not?" "You got the money for this, kid?" "Yes, I do." He had been saving this money since he was 6 years old, every penny, and now he had all of it on him, nearly $2,000. The guy flipped his magazine shut, stood up, and said, "All right, kid, let's get you a system." When it was all run through the cash register, totaled, and the tax was applied, Danny was $6 short. "Come on," he pleaded with the guy. "Credit me $6. I swear I'll be back with it." The clerk just shook his head and opened his magazine back up. "No can do, amigo." "How about this watch, then?" Danny offered. His dad had given him that watch, one of the only things he had ever given him. It was a cheap Casio with a calculator, not worth much more than $6 used, but it meant the world to Danny. That watch ain't even worth $6. "Is too. It's got a calculator." Danny pulled it off his wrist and thrust it at the guy, who took it in his hands and gave it a curt once-over. "Yeah, to tell you the truth, I kind of need a calculator watch. I have to do a lot of calculations when I'm programming. Tell you what, give me the watch for the $6. You want it back, give me 20 later. Deal?" "Deal." Setting up the high-gain antenna way up in a big Douglas fir tree on the periphery of the bower where the dead girl lay, Danny heard footsteps crunching in the leaves behind and below him. He froze, straddling the tree, his heart pounding in his chest. Was it the killer returned? A hiker who had discovered the body with him here at the crime scene, setting up a surveillance system? He clung to the tree, terrified, too scared to move, to even look down. As the footsteps came the footsteps came closer, slowly closer, till they were right below him, and then they stopped. Whoever it was right below him. He waited for what seemed an eternity, willing them to go on. Only silence. Finally, he chanced a furtive glance downward to see an 8-point buck below him, chewing cud. He heaved a sigh of relief. A deer. It was just a deer. The deer then stepped forward towards the dead girl and sniffed the body curiously. As Danny scampered quickly down the tree, it cast a quick glance up at him with its big black eyes and darted off into the brush. Back on the trail, heading home, the shadows of the towering trees growing long and dark, the reality of the situation finally dawned on Danny, and he wondered, just what the fuck am I doing? Now he realizes that maybe this is a little fucking creepy.
Yeah.
This was absolutely crazy. He should call the cops. He would be a hero. But another part of him, the part of his brain that, oh god, carried the blood that poured in and out of the erection that pulsed in his pants, said, no, this was good. That he deserved this. In the end, it was too late. He had done it, and that was that. What was it Lady Macbeth had said? What's done cannot be undone.
Kiss.
The thought of the next several days was like a feverish dream. The corpse, just the thought of it, would send Danny into a delirium of mad ecstasy. He would go to his computer and view the paradisiacal image his security camera conjured. He would study the body with the eye of an art scholar, or how she changed, growing plump in the belly as gas bloated her, the skin around her left eye beginning to wrinkle and shrivel so that the eye stood out as a round orb, and the white of her skull began to show at the edges. He would stare at those video images and stroke himself impossibly hard. Ever was. Mouth dry, skin sensitive and prickly, itchy, his eyes not focusing right, dilating independently as if he had a concussion. As he had grown a nasty nervous tic that spread over his face, making his whole right side contort and twitch, and then grow numb and palsy. Images of death and necrophilia played through his head nonstop, sleeping, walking, eating, studying. He would read pages of a book and realize he hadn't taken any notice at all to what the words were, lost in fantasies of dismemberment and carnage. This dude is a fucking time. This dude is a fucking ticking time bomb waiting to happen.
Yeah.
He found himself giggling uncontrollably at odd and inappropriate times, hunched with a shuffling gait as if he suffered from some strange spinal disorder. His little sister told him, You look different. You're not the same. His old, surly self would have lashed out defensively, but the new him just laughed wickedly and nodded. There was no denying it. So now he's the Joker. Look, fucking giggling uncontrollably, fucking hunched with a shuffling gait, fucking laughing wickedly. He's the fucking Joker.
Man. Not only this guy, but Jeff the Killer was too, right?
Yeah, oh my god. You know, we might as well just make it a 3-fer and say that Sonic.exe is somehow also the Joker.
We are all Jokers.
But then he began to worry. Days went by and not a thing. Was the killer coming back? Had he been wrong? It was only going to be so long before someone found her. A hiker, a troop of Boy Scouts. This has happened at a drainage ditch down in Eureka not that long ago. But then, one day, like a revelation, as he stared at the live feed, he noticed a shadow on the periphery of the frame. It darted in and out, spectral. He squinted, pushed his glasses up his nose, making sure it wasn't a breeze blowing the branches of the trees. No. It was definitely the silhouette of a man. Then a figure stepped furtively into the frame, nervously glancing its gargantuan head back and forth. Danny gaped at the screen, his mouth hanging open in astonishment. No way. It was Mr. Kirby, the gym teacher. Dun dun dun!
Well, finally! Oh my goodness, how long has it been since the last mention of the gym teacher?
Danny began to giggle, and then to laugh. Loud, bellicose guffaws pouring out of him. That's how I imagine him laughing. Just like a fucking monkey. Mr. fucking Kirby was the psycho killer. Holy shit. Danny licked his lips and pushed his glasses up his nose. This was it. This was what he had been waiting for, what all the money and risk and preparation had been leading to. He could feel his pulse quicken and his heartbeat begin to pound. He studied the screen with eager anticipation. He watched as Mr. Kirby glanced about and seemed to ascertain that no one was around. He watched as Mr. Kirby knelt down to the ground beside the dead girl and tenderly lifted her head in his massive mitt of a hand, her long blonde hair trailing down between his fingers. He watched as Mr. Kirby reached into the pocket of his sweatpants and retrieved something oblong and cylindrical, toying with it for a moment before bringing it to the dead girl's lips. Danny focused intently on the screen. Lipstick. It was lipstick. He was spreading lipstick on the girl's lips. Placing the lid back on and secreting the lipstick back in his pocket, Mr. Kirby then tenderly cradled her by the back of the neck and brought her ashen azure face up to his, her vacant eyes staring blankly out into the forest, mouth gaping open, a lipstick-smeared crimson slash. He began to kiss her tenderly about the face and mouth, one hand slipping down to cradle her breast. Okay, it gets worse. Mr. Kirby then began to strip. He took off his shoes, pulled off his sweatshirt, then the t-shirt beneath it. He quickly and eagerly pushed his sweatpants down to his ankles and stepped out of them, his erection rising up from him like the thick branch of an oak just stretching away from its trunk. Jesus. He turned the pale body over and laid her on her belly. He took her hips in his hands, his thick sausage-like fingers gripping her just below the waist, and hoisted her rear up so that her ass was in the air and pointed right at the camera. Oh, fuck.
We'll go? That's it?
Yeah. You just walked in a very awkward fucking part of the story.
Why?
You guys want me to just read it over? Fucking drag him into this?
No, I just popped in because I thought I was wondering what you guys were doing. I thought you were done.
Oh yeah, no, we're on the last story.
No, see ya, Salty.
Yeah.
See ya.
See ya.
Fucking hell, that was perfectly timed. Anyway, he spread her buttocks and peered into her anus. In the shadows there, something wiggled. He took his forefinger and dug it into her anal cavity, pulling out a finger full of little, white, writhing maggots. As he flicked the maggots aside and inserted his finger back into her ass, digging it in with a twisting motion and then pulling out another squirming mass of maggots, Danny felt sick.
Oh,
The room began to slowly rotate and his guts clenched. His eyes watered and his mouth filled with coppery-tasting drool. Seeing this was much different than reading about it, and he felt the urge to vomit. He watched with difficulty as Mr. Kirby fired a glob of spit onto the head of his dick and pressed the saliva-dripping tip of his cock against the lips of the dead girl's anus. He watched as Mr. Kirby tilted his head back, eyes clenched in ecstasy, his upper lip beginning to curl in that strange sneer, and thrust himself forward so that he sank deep into her, that weird snarl of his lips exposing sharp teeth. He watched as Mr. Kirby began to violently pump his hips against her so that her face was sent forward into the earth with spasmodic jerks, her chin and nose digging down into the duff, her mouth filling with dirt, wide-open eyes now caked in filth. Danny's stomach then heaved violently. He was definitely going to be sick. Pushing himself away from his desk, he ran to the bathroom and rushed into the toilet. Eyes dripping water, a cool sheen of sweat breaking out over him as his half-digested lunch spilled into the toilet bowl. There, kneeling on the fluffy bath mat, forehead resting on the cool porcelain, struggling for breath, he wondered what the hell he had been thinking, what he had thought he would see. He had risked so much, spent his life savings for this disgusting and awful sight that had only hurt his brain and turned his stomach. He wanted to cry. He wondered if he would ever be able to forget that awful sight. The girl's thin white legs, her face pressed into the ground, Mr. Kirby's bulky, naked body thrusting against her. "Danny," his mother called up to him from upstairs. "You all right up there, honey?" "Fine, Mom." Jesus, he thought. The computer was still on. His door wide open. He rose shakily to his feet, taking off his glasses. He wiped his eyes with his sleeve, flushed the toilet, and darted back to his room. He pushed his glasses onto his face and shut the door behind him, his mouth burning with the foul and acrid taste of vomit and bile. On the screen, Mr. Kirby was still pumping away doggy style at the dead girl. Danny grabbed the mouse to click the awful image of the screen, and something funny happened. Something appeared to go wrong with the screen. The focus was going all weird. Mr. Kirby's arms and back were going blurry. Danny squinted, looked closer at the screen, and saw that it wasn't the focus, but what appeared to be hair, curling up and spreading out over his shoulders and down his massive arms. Then something very dramatic happened, and Danny was still frozen as still as a statue. Mr. Kirby thrust his head back so far it appeared his neck had snapped. He opened his mouth impossibly wide, a black chasm growing in his face, and the structure of his head completely changed. His eyes went yellow, the pupils as vertical as a cat's, his nose blackened and shriveled into a snout. A riot of needle-like teeth sprouted from the darkness of his gaping mouth. The writhing hair, now a maelstrom of growth, spread faster and faster and grew thicker and thicker, till he was completely enveloped in a gray and black pelt. He thrashed his head side to side, snarled in that weird way, but now it wasn't the head of a man at all. He took her shoulder in his mouth, filleting it, shaking his head furiously back and forth as shaggy, pointed ears unfurled from the top of his head. He wrenched his head back again, chomping on the flesh torn from her shoulder and gulping it down in quick, jerky swallows. Yeah, Mr. Kirby's a werewolf.
Wow.
Yep.
I mean, I foreshadowed it.
Really?
Yeah. The story is written by a guy named Humboldt Lycanthrope, and earlier I pointed out how Mr. Kirby was being compared to a dog.
Okay.
Oh, I
thought
see
there was
now.
something more freaky gonna be going on.
Yeah. Mr. Kirby retained no trace of his human form. He was now a huge, wolf-like beast, easily as big as a pony or small horse, still thrashing and humping her body until he spasmodically shuddered in what Danny assumed was an orgasm. He went still a moment, panting, then rose up on all fours, pulling himself free of her, and began to circle the body, sniffing it. Opening his massive snout, all those fangs gleaming, he grasped the dead girl by the remains of her throat and darted out of frame, dragging the corpse along with him. Danny trembled as if from cold, his teeth chattering. What had he just seen? What had just happened? He wasn't sure, but he was scared. Very scared. Scenarios raced through his mind. What should he do? Who could he tell? Should he go to the cops? Could he go to the cops? He had the video, but if he showed it to anyone, his dark secret would be exposed. Maybe he could leak it onto the internet or give it to the cops anonymously. He would need to be careful so that it wouldn't come back to him. He needed to think. An hour ticked by, and Danny sat there staring numbly at his computer, the patch of woods on the screen beginning to grow dark with dusk, Mr. Kirby's clothing lying there in the duff where he had abandoned them. Then an image appeared. Mr. Kirby, naked, covered in dirt. He retrieved his sweatpants, sweatshirt, and shoes. He put them on hastily and scrambled away, disappearing from the screen. This can't be real, Danny thought to himself. It can't be real. This has to be some kind of dream, some kind of nightmare. For 2 days, Danny feigned illness and convinced his mother not to send him to school. He lay in bed, pondering what he was going to do, or sat before his computer watching the video over and over and searching the internet for information on werewolves. He found lots of folklore. He learned that both the lycanthrope of the ancient Greeks and the wendigo of the North American native tribes were the products of cannibalism. He had read about the Cajun rougarou of Louisiana, the Beast of Gévaudan incident in France in 1765. He studied the story of Peter Stump, the werewolf of Bedburg, Germany. For 25 years in the 1500s, Stump claimed the devil had given him the power to turn into a wolf, committed countless acts of murder and cannibalism, including eating his own son's brain. It seemed so relevant and important, but Danny couldn't find a context for it to help him with his own situation. There was nothing modern, nothing that didn't read as tongue-in-cheek or wasn't cheesy and badly written. Only one interesting tidbit, that the Rostov Ripper, Andrei Chikatilo, was believed by many in Russia to have been a werewolf. But he could find nothing that pointed him in any direction to take, nothing that could help him in any way. Finally, on Halloween, his mother forced him to go back to school. He did not want to. He was scared. Very scared. Terrified. To make matters worse, his camera wasn't working that morning. There was no way of knowing if it had been malfunctioned or if it had been discovered and dismantled. The batteries were supposed to last months. Had someone found the camera? A hiker? The cops? Mr. Kirby? Could it be traced back to him? He didn't know. He had paid cash for the system, run everything through a proxy so that nothing could be traced to his computer. He didn't think so. He desperately hoped not. Things are really ramping up.
Yeah.
At gym class that day, Mr. Kirby had them inside playing basketball. It was a dark day, the sky black with storm clouds and rain falling so thick and hard its reverberation. Fucking thick and hard. We're a very mature podcast, folks.
Yep.
Its reverberations on the roof were a cacophony that echoed through the gymnasium. The massive windows above the bleachers were streaked and sloshed with water, letting in only a tiny bit of gray, abysmal light. Danny was afraid to even look at Mr. Kirby. He just kept thinking of the way he had savagely thrown his head back so that it appeared his neck had snapped before that snout sprouted from his face, full of sharp, glistening teeth. "Put some effort into it, Thompson," Mr. Kirby shouted at Danny. Danny lowered his eyes and ducked behind another player, hiding. It was a reflexive action. He couldn't help it and didn't even really know what he was doing. "Damn it, Thompson, what the hell are you doing? Get in my office right now. Come on, I want to talk to you." Danny's first reflex was simply to run, to hightail it right out the large swinging doors and run as fast as he could. To where? He didn't know. Then a rational inner part of him said, play it cool, and he hesitantly went with Mr. Kirby to his office, a nagging voice in the back of his head asking, "Does he know? Could he possibly know?" Mr. Kirby shut the door and turned to Danny. "What's up with you, Thompson?" he asked, and Danny could see his canines flashing in the dark recess of his mouth like light bulbs. "Think you're so fucking smart, don't you?" Danny looked at his massive arms, speechless and terrified, remembering how the hair there had curled and swirled into a thick pelt. "Well, guess what, son? You can't even run a mile. Can't even walk it with your head up. You need to get in shape, boy. Now listen, I'm not saying this to be a dick. I know you're a year younger than the rest of those assholes out there. I'm doing this because I like you. You've got a future. You're different from all the rest of these jerks. And when you get out in the real world, you're gonna have to deal with tough guys like me. Tougher than me. Real sharks. CEOs. Business executives. I just want you to be prepared. Okay?" His eyes softened and his lips spread into a genuine smile, like he really meant it. And he reached out a hand to jostle Danny's hair. Reflexively, Danny recoiled. "Easy, Thompson. I don't bite. I go out there and put a little effort into it." So now we're getting a new side to Mr. Kirby. Yeah. I'm sure he's this fucking psycho werewolf serial killer who's also a necrophile, but at the same time, he seemed to just want the best for his students, or at least for Danny.
I like how he was just like, CEOs are more terrifying than a werewolf.
Yeah. Danny nodded, rose awkwardly, and ran back into the gymnasium. As school was letting out, the rain abated and the sky cleared. As afternoon gave way to evening, the weather turned warm and the crickets even began to chirp within the last vestige of summer. That night, Danny's mother forced him to take his little sister trick-or-treating. She was surprised that he didn't want to go. What do you mean you don't want to go, Danny? I thought you loved Halloween. You've been working on your costume for weeks. I'll get a load of the costume, guys. His costume consisted simply of a black suit with the letter M written in chalk on the back left shoulder, a fedora, and a child-sized doll, naked and covered in bits of gore and fake blood. He had been looking forward to being asked who he was and replying, "The Dusseldorf vampire." When he received the inevitable "who?" he would state, "Peter Curtin, of course, the psychopathic child killer and necrophile who killed over 79 people from 1913 to 1931 before he was finally caught and executed by having his head lopped off in the guillotine." Yeah. So, in other news, for Halloween, I'm thinking of dressing up as John Wayne Gacy, specifically as Pogo the Clown. It's gonna be lots of fun. I'm gonna go around to all the kids and offer them balloons. It had seemed a clever costume, smart, witty, depraved enough to be edgy and dark, even funny in a disturbing way, but no longer. The costume held no allure to him now. He didn't want to wear it, and he didn't want to go out on the streets either. "I don't like my costume. I don't want to wear it." His mother sighed. "Look, costume or no costume, you're taking your sister out trick-or-treating. Have you forgotten that you're in big trouble? You need to step up and be a big brother. Take some responsibility." Just then, Gale and his sister came down the steps. Gale was dressed as a witch, in a long black gown with a pointed hat, face painted an avocado shade of green. His sister was dressed like a cat, in a black leotard with clip-on ears, a little nose, and whiskers painted on her cheeks. "Can't Gale take her? Look how good they look together." "Meow," Melissa said, swiping at the air. "No, Danny," his mother stated firmly, crossing her arms and tapping her foot. "Gale and I are staying home and giving out candy. Now do as you're told." Trick-or-treating that night was a nightmare for Danny. All the things that had seemed so silly to him in years past, the strange masks, the tombstones and cobwebs, the scarecrows and skeletons, even the jack-o'-lanterns, were now absolutely terrifying. He was scared to even go up the walk to the houses with his sister, and instead lingered back, watching her, jumping with fright when a gaggle of kids in zombie garb darted past him. As the sky grew darker and the shadows of the forest fell over the neighborhood, he couldn't take it anymore. It was too much. He felt danger in every lurking stranger, every dark recess between the houses or behind the shrubs that lined the suburban lawns. He decided right then that he was going to come clean. First to his mom. He was going to tell her everything about finding the corpse, his sick compulsion to put a camera up over it. Then the police. Just come clean and bare his soul. Let them look at the footage, watch Mr. Kirby turn into some kind of monster. Let them figure it out. He was done. Done with serial killers. Done with true crime. It just felt like a dirty and wretched weight on him, and he desperately wanted out. He was scared, petrified, and he just could not take it any longer. They would go home and he would tell his mother and Gale everything, right now. "Come on," he said to Melissa. "It's getting late. Your bag is full and people are shutting up for the night." "Look how much candy I got," she said, opening her bag wide for his inspection, her brown eyes saucer-wide above her huge smile and painted whiskers. Danny choked up and felt more love and tenderness for his little sister than he'd ever felt before. A revelation hit him, that he had been jealous of her because she was the baby, that he had always looked down at her and seen her as a stupid brat when he should have been the one looking out for her, the one being strong and giving support. His eyes moistened as he struggled to speak. "That's great, Melissa, just great, and I had a fun time with you tonight." Okay, so now Danny's finally becoming a better person, kind of.
Makes sense.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, ever so slightly. Me too! And she wrapped her arms around his waist and pressed her cheek to his chest and he clenched his eyes shut and bit his lip so as to not break down crying right there on the street. When they swung the door to the house open and stepped in, Danny could immediately tell that something was wrong. Ordinarily, every light in the house would be on, and his mom and Gail would be lounging on the couch, drinking wine, listening to NPR, and laughing boisterously. Now there was silence, and only one lamp lit in the far corner of the room. "Mommy?" his little sister called out into the darkness. Danny flicked the light switch, illuminating the room, and something was definitely not right. There was a bottle of wine open on the coffee table with glasses, but one of the glasses was knocked over, and dark red wine had spilled down off the table and formed a puddle on the floor. His sister stepped forward, the floor creaking beneath her. "Mommy?" Danny could feel dread eat into his bones like a parasite, a fat tick gnawing into him, and he knew this was wrong. Something was wrong and they had to get out of here. He reached out and grasped his sister's elbow. "No, don't go in there. Come on, we've got to get out of here." The slam of the door behind him caught him off guard, and the air in his lungs turned to ice as he reflexively spun around towards the sound to see Mr. Kirby behind him. Dun, dun, dun! His round, fleshy face a grimace, his eyelids half shut over his globular eyes in a horrid leer. His upper lip was curled, and light glared off his bald dome. "Gotcha," he half-whispered in a growl and grabbed them both up easily in his thick arms. Mr. Kirby had them all in the basement, Danny, his sister, his mother, and Gail, lined up in a row on the big couch, arms and legs bound with industrial zip ties, duct tape wrapped around their mouths to gag them. Okay, this is fucking hilarious because he's supposed to be this fucking, like, deranged werewolf serial killer, and yet he's tied up the entire family in the basement like a fucking supervillain.
He's like threatening them.
Anyway, he paced back and forth before them, talking with the sententious tone he gave the gym class when he pontificated on the virtues of effort, discipline, and hustle, slapping a beefy hand into his open palm to make a point. "What makes a man a monster?" He turned and faced his captives, cue ball eyes stretching out from his giant bald head. "Are they born that way?" Meaty sound of hand slapping palm. "Do they learn it from their parents? Is it because they got hit in the head? Can you see it in a child who pees the bed, plays with fire, tortures animals?" He stepped forward and grabbed Danny by the hair and pulled his head up, at the same time lowering his so that their faces were mere centimeters from each other. Do we see it in a child obsessed with murder and death that spies on people and sees things that are none of his business? Thompson. He released Danny's hair and resumed his pacing. "Now, what is it that can lure a man into becoming a monster? That can unleash the animal, the beast within. For some, it is greed, the selfish desire for more. For others, it's power, the urge to dominate and control others. Now these deadly sins have always appealed to me, been part of my makeup and character." He chuckled, spun around to pace back the other way. "But more than anything else, what has always made me tick and given me access to my inner demon has always been sex, lust, the sirenic call of debauchment. Ever since I was a boy, the eroticism of intense, violent sex, of rape and necrophilia has brought out the monster within me." His eyes gleamed and he smiled, casting a sly look and a lurid wink at Danny. "I know you know what I mean, Thompson. Well, I eventually learned to control it." She chuckled again. "Somewhat. It can still get the best of me from time to time." He slapped his hands together and rubbed them vigorously, licking his lips. "So, Danny, you wanted to know about monsters, human monsters. I've seen you with your little books, so interested. Well, I hope this has been informative. And you wanted a show, huh? You wanted to watch? A little voyeur? You wanted to see a spectacle? Well, I'll put on a show for you." He began to undress, sitting down to unlace his shoes, taking them off one by one and placing them carefully aside before standing and slipping his sweatshirt over his head. Greatest goddamn show on earth. He strolled bare-chested to Danny's mother, gently caressed her face with his big hand, wrapped a lock of hair around his finger. She squirmed and struggled against her binds, eyes bulging and leaking a torrent of tears, snot pouring from her nose, trying desperately but feebly to scream through the duct tape gag. "You know, Danny, your mother is not a bad-looking woman. Not bad-looking at all." He pivoted that massive bald head toward Danny, and with that weird snarling curve of his upper lip, He asked, "How would you like to watch me fuck your skull?" Danny Thompson was not like the serial killers he was so obsessed with. Nothing like them at all. They were psychopaths, sociopaths. There was something lacking in them, something wrong with their minds. They had no feelings for other human beings, no empathy, no sympathy, and no remorse. They couldn't feel compassion or love or fear like a normal human being. And right then, Danny felt many, many things. He felt love for his mother, a deep love for this woman who had struggled to raise his sister and him, took them from Oregon to try and give them a better life. He felt remorse that he had treated her so unkindly. He felt compassion for his little sister, a good girl, innocent and sweet, who deserved none of this. He felt empathy for Gail, a kind woman who had been nothing but nice to Danny and made his mother feel wanted and loved. But more than anything, Danny felt fear, a deep, all-encompassing fear that emanated from his bones and viscera to prickle his skin, that filled his mouth with a metallic, salty taste, that shook him to the core so that he twitched and trembled violently as he watched Mr. Kirby step out of his sweatpants, his massive erection bouncing, his eyes turning from blue to yellow and black as his gaping mouth filled with fangs and thick gray and brown hair began to sprout from his skin. It's not done yet. Hustle, 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 Mr. Kirby shouted at his 11 o'clock class as they came jogging past him. It was November, but it was in the mid-60s and not raining, so he had the kids out on the track. Running had taught them endurance, strength, and discipline. When he saw the two men in suits and ties come strolling across the soccer field towards him, he knew exactly who they were and why they were there. The death of the Thompson family was the talk of the town. Stephen Kirby, the taller one with the darker hair, asked. That would be me. I'm Detective McClaney, and this is Detective Stanler. Can we speak with you for a minute? Certainly, gentlemen. He put his whistle to his lips and gave a long, protracted blast of shrill noise, accentuating it by clapping his massive hands together. All right, locker room, let's go, everybody. The detectives grinned at each other, and Stanler leaned forward to whisper conspiratorially in McClaney's ear. I always fucking hated gym class. McClaney grinned and mumbled back, ditto, as they followed Kirby back into the building into his office. So, what can I help you guys with? Mr. Kirby asked as he sat down at his desk. I assume this is about the Thompson incident? The detectives gave each other a quick sideways glance before McClaney asked, So you were Danny's gym teacher? Yeah, that's right. Well, you are aware of what happened, right? Not the details. I know they were attacked by an animal or something on Halloween. That's right. The wounds are consistent with an animal attack, and the DNA from the hair, saliva, even oddly enough, and we've never seen anything like this before with an animal attack, semen, or some kind of canine, a wolf of sorts. Though there hasn't been a wolf in California in over 90 years, and even then this appears to be some kind of prehistoric wolf that is supposedly extinct. Kirby stared at them with a dumbfounded expression, mouth agape, eyes wide in stupefied wonder. I don't get it. I thought it was some kind of bear or mountain lion. There have been mountain lion attacks here before. Yes, there has. Several, as a matter of fact, but never in a victim's home. Well, I've heard of bear attacks like that. Bear comes in to get the trash, mauls the dog, and any human that gets in his way. The detectives glanced at each other. Yes, that does happen here in Humboldt County, but this case is different, for it seems a robbery took place as well. What? I haven't heard that. Yes, the boy's room was definitely rummaged through, and it seems his computer was taken. Actually, every computer in the house was taken. We also were unable to recover any cell phones or his mother's iPad. Well, that's fucking crazy, guys. I don't know what to say. What we were wondering is what you had to say about this. And Detective Stanler placed his leather briefcase on the desk, clicking it open with his thumbs. He retrieved a thick plastic bag containing a spiral-bound notebook. He looked at Kirby inquisitively as he pulled it from the bag, thumbed through it, and set it before him. There on the page, written over and over, was the sentence, Kirby is the wolf. Kirby is the wolf. Mr. Kirby squinted at the page, shaking the big round dome of his bald head, then puckered his lips and gazed up sheepishly at the detectives. And honestly, I'm not surprised he'd say something like that about me. The kid hated me. I tried to push him. He was smaller than the rest, and slower. I just thought if I could motivate him, it would help him in life, toughen him up. Let's face it, guys, it's a tough world out there. He sighed, blew air through his puckered lips, and then looked back at the detectives with his eyebrows arched and an earnest set to his eyes. But in the end, the kid just had no hustle. He shook his head sadly. The detectives peered at him for a moment. McClaney with his hands on his hips, Stanler adjusting his tie, and there was an uneasy quiet amongst them. Kirby stared straight back with a thoughtful and beatific... Jesus, the fucking prose is so overly written. Expression before McClenny finally broke the silence. Alright, he replied, laying his business card on the desk while Stanler scooped up the notebook, placing it back in his briefcase. You just call us if you think of anything. Anything at all. Will do, gentlemen, Kirby said, picking up the card and looking at it thoughtfully as the detectives turned from him and left the room. Will do. End of story.
It's like a Goosebumps book.
What did you guys think?
It's like a Goosebumps book.
Yeah, but, you know, written for adults.
Yeah. And there's death.
Yeah. I mean, it checks out because most protagonists in Goosebumps books were fucking assholes.
Oh, yeah.
And had terrible fates.
Yes, that is true.
What do you think
so
of
yeah,
that?
just as Danny was turning over a new leaf, he got fucking mauled to death by a weird serial killer werewolf who is also implied to be immortal because he's apparently some kind of prehistoric wolf.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they mentioned about like other werewolf myths, like the Rugaru.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that.
And the Beast of Gévaudan.
Whatever. And
What I do like is also that this, unlike Jeff the Killer and Sonic.exe, this story actually follows a popular trend with creepypasta where the monster isn't fully explained. Like, we know that Mr. Kirby is a werewolf and, like, he's a serial killer and stuff, but we don't know anything about him, really. Like, we don't know where he came from, we don't know how he became a werewolf, we don't know how old he is, how long he's been doing this. He's obviously done it before, you know, because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it fucking killed me, though, in the store where they're like, alright, we'll just leave.
Yeah. Like, although you could tell that they were suspicious of him, but they couldn't really find any evidence to indict him.
Notebook.
Yeah, just a notebook.
Yeah. Because, of course, Mr. Kirby stole the computer that had the video of him turning into a werewolf.
Yeah, obviously.
It's sort of like, oh, I can't really explain it. Well, it's well written, this story, compared to, like, the other ones.
Yeah, it's just still kind of... I would say it actually suffers from the opposite problem, where it's overwritten.
Yeah.
Overwritten?
Yeah, like, no one ever, like... It just uses, like, overly flowery prose in some points.
Well, I guess it kind of makes sense since we follow Danny and, you know, him.
Right, yes. Yeah, Danny, the fucking intellectual who's obsessed with serial killers.
I bet he watches Rick and Morty.
Oh, yeah. Fucking, I don't even know when this story was written. I don't even know if Rick and Morty was a thing when it was written.
I mean, he wrote
If
Ditto.
it was, he would watch it.
Yeah.
But he wrote Ditto, right? That's pretty recent, actually. Right?
I'm not... Maybe.
So, I don't know, the way he wrote, like, Ditto, and it's like 1960s America's a little strange.
Oh, I don't think it took place in the 1960s.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it... Well,
Danny had a fucking, like, PC that he was live streaming to. You really think they could have done that in the 1960s?
No, forget about that.
Yeah, it had like the Wi-Fi, after Wi-Fi, whatever.
Yeah. Although I do understand why you might have been confused, because it did say, at the end there, it did say mid-60s, but it meant the temperature, not the time period.
Oh, okay. That's where I got confused.
Yeah. And besides, if it was the mid-60s, serial killers wouldn't be, like, a widely known phenomenon at that point. Like, they would have just had, like, John Wayne Gacy, and that was it.
Oh, true.
Because, like, Charles Manson was, I think his murders were either in the 80s or the 90s.
Oh. Did you guys know the Soviet Union covered up their murders, too?
Really?
Yeah, they also had, like, a big spree of murders. Like, most of the murders that were never heard of.
Yeah, that actually checks out, because I've heard that other countries want the public to think that serial killers are, like, an exclusively American phenomenon.
Yeah, that's why they covered it up, because most of their cases were never solved.
Yeah, that's because I was watching Criminal Minds, right? And in one episode, the team has to go down to Mexico to investigate a serial killer. And so at one point, the guy says that they're down there because the Mexican government wants them to prove that it's not a serial killer because the government wants to prove that serial killers are exclusively an American phenomenon.
Yeah, it kind of makes the country look bad. Like, really bad.
Yeah. As long as you exclude, Peter Curtin and Jack the Ripper and Elizabeth Bathory and...
that one German guy who turned himself in for his family.
I think I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name.
Yeah, because they were in debt, right? Because of the economy, because of the Great Depression.
Right. Oh yeah, Germany was fucking hit hard by the Depression. Like, they printed so much money that children were literally building money castles.
Bro, for real. Can you imagine that? Like, it's the same thing with, like, Venezuela.
Yeah.
They're already making money baskets.